Hey there, guys, and welcome back to the Travis and Damian Podcast, episode 56. We are available on anchor.fm/Travis Damian Podcast, along with Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many more. If you guys would like to ask us any questions, you can leave a voice message at the Anchor link or in the YouTube comment section. You can even add me on Twitter at tvsonicgaming. Today, we're going to be talking about general gaming news and movie news. Then we'll be heading into our recent activities, including Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. Next, our thoughts on the Nintendo Direct. Lastly, our newest and latest thoughts on WandaVision, episode 6 and 7. So first up, I think that this was a pretty big thing that came out, was that WB Games filed a patent for their Nemesis system. So the patent covers a system featuring procedurally generated NPCs that exist in a hierarchy and interact with and will remember the actions of players, have their appearance/behaviors altered by players, and whose place in that hierarchy can change and affect the position of other NPCs in said hierarchy. And yes, that is the simplified version as IGN put it. So pretty much WB has patented this system that is within the Middle of Earth games, Shadow of Mordor.
Yeah.
And this patent is good up until 2035, providing that they, keep up with the necessary fees. This is a pretty big discussion within the beginning of the month because you're pretty much locking out a new mechanic within gaming to only WB. And I think that a lot of games and a lot of IPs could really take advantage of this if they, put their own spin on it or whatever. Because obviously, like, when it comes to things like Assassin's Creed, for example, I think that their whole thing with like the towers and like the whole thing that they did with the open world, like pretty much every open world game after Assassin's Creed came out did that. So yeah, I don't know. I think that this is just a really weird patent to make.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense because like we made this and we want it, but it kind of sucks. Like actually, Warframe had an update, like I think a year or two ago, that added sort of like a baby Nemesis system into the game. I don't know how this patent is gonna affect that since it kind of works like this. Again, it's not as complex as the Shadow of Mordor games, but it kind of works the same way where you have like a NPC that's hunting you down. And the more that you kill them, they have like interactions with you, and they learn your tactics, and they get better weapons and stuff. So, I wonder how that's gonna affect games that already kind of have this system in place. But yeah, it kind of sucks. They're kind of just patenting it, like only they could do it. Since I don't know when they're gonna do another like Mordor game. Probably soon actually, since Amazon are like doing like a Lord of the Rings show, and like to try to bring Lord of the Rings back, so I could see them. Maybe this is like not like a test, but a way to just ensure that the system can stay fresh when they do another Mordor game, probably set in that new like Lord of the Rings like universe. I don't know much about Lord of the Rings, so I don't know. But yeah, it's kind of sad to see such a cool system that could have been used by other developers be kind of locked out just because of legal stuff. But yeah, I mean it makes sense, but it's annoying.
Yeah, definitely. I think that this is probably going to bite them in the ass eventually, if they're ever going to give up this patent or whatever, because like you said, or like both of us said, I think that a lot of other game developers and a lot of other minds within the gaming industry could probably use this effectively and maybe even improve on it, because now you're kind of like stagnating it to just WB people who can work on this. And if you're not employed by WB, you can't really improve or even work on this sort of Nemesis system. So
yeah, so it's kind of lame because you can't really have innovation like you said, and that's always what you need for video games. Sometimes you introduce a concept or mechanic, and a different developer could just make that better. We've seen that a lot. So hopefully this patent maybe doesn't go through. Probably is though, but we're just gonna have to wait and see how this affects this mechanic in the future.
Yeah.
In other big news, CD Projekt Red got hacked because it never ends with them. Personal docs and the source code of Cyberpunk was leaked. So basically, the hackers were like asking for like a ransom. I forgot what they wanted in particular.
Yeah,
here it is.
I don't
It's
think
right
they
here.
said exactly what they wanted, but they were like,
yeah.
epically pwned. This other
Yeah,
stuff.
they like get ethically. Okay, so people were saying like the reason why they were acting like lead hackers is because if they act like this, is harder to like trace like who they are, since you could probably pick up who someone is based on how they type and stuff. So that's probably why they did that. It's not just for like memes. I mean, it probably is, but you know what I mean. But yeah, basically they stole a bunch of things with like HR and like investor relations, accounting stuff, and again the source code, which is like sort of the big thing. And obviously this is really bad for CD Projekt Red, and I'm pretty sure they already fixed everything. I think they had a bunch of backup things to restore all those legal documents. And again, with the source code, even though it is a big deal that that's just out in the wild now, if CD Projekt Red actually catch anyone using it, they're gonna just sue the crap out of them. So I don't think anyone's crazy enough to actually use that source code. Maybe people could dig up some interesting stuff in it, but you gotta be like really dumb to show that you obtained the source code. So I highly doubt anyone's actually gonna like admit that. So in the end, I don't think this is gonna affect them too much because this happened quite a bit ago, like a few days ago. So, and nothing's really come up of it. I think we would have gotten some juicy stories from like the HR like team if things actually came up, but I don't think anything actually happened due to this. So it ended up being okay for them. But yeah, it does show that people can find backdoors anywhere, and that you really gotta keep your backups as a company and make sure all your stuff is secure, because people will find it, especially if you piss off a bunch of angry gamers after Cyberpunk. So yeah, you definitely want to secure that stuff.
Yeah, I think that with the Naughty Dog leak that happened with The Last of Us 2, like that was kind of crazy. So CD Projekt Red having some holes in their system really sucks, and I think that people who are like, well, like they made Cyberpunk 2077 such a broken game, what did you expect? I'm like, well, I don't think anyone really deserves this, especially with the amount of personal information and the source codes for the games being leaked out. And I think it was sold on the black market or some shit. I forget. But yeah, I just think that people who are very cynical towards them, like obviously like they messed up. They made a really bad game, or should I say a broken game. And it is what it is. Like people will have less faith than CD Projekt Red. I think that people need to put money where their mouth is, or whatever the case is. Like vote with your wallet is what I always say when it comes to anything. So next time CD Projekt Red announces another game, it's probably not going to be as many pre-orders. It's probably not going to be as many people excited and hyped for it until post-launch and see if the game actually works or whatever, which that could happen within the next 10 years, because I know CD Projekt Red, they like to make big games, so that's probably going to be a while now, especially since they are still fixing Cyberpunk 2077. And yeah, I just think that people who are very critical and very like, oh, like they deserved it, is very much like not it. That's not the take, bro.
Yeah, I also agree with that. Obviously, like this is gonna like hurt a lot of people, not just like the company itself. So you probably shouldn't be saying that. You probably don't want this for anyone, honestly. Like getting anything leaked out, especially such personal information, is really bad. Luckily, the hacker wasn't able to go to GOG, since CD Projekt Red also owns that. Because if they got a hold of that, it would have had a hold of a lot of people's actual personal information, but that wasn't the case, luckily. So yeah, again, if you want like revenge over evil gaming company, I don't think this is the way to do it. Just don't buy their product and just be like, okay, I'm kind of just done with them. Obviously this actually hurts actual people, and it's like a real crime, so don't do it. But I don't think anyone will do that. Hopefully not. So yeah, again, it sucks for CD Projekt Red, no matter how you feel about them. It's like I don't think no one should really go through this, even if it is just like a company. So yeah, real people work here and stuff. So you definitely don't want to root for this type of behavior.
Yeah, I always put yourself in their shoes, if you will. Like what if you worked
go back
at
to first grade? Yeah.
Treat others how you want to be treated.
Yeah.
So next thing we got here is Crash 4. It's About Time is coming to next-gen consoles, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X/S, and the Switch and PC on March 12th, which is less than a month from now. So to anyone that bought the previous versions, there are free upgrades and save transfer options. So if you want to enjoy the 60 FPS, shorter loading times, and 4K visuals on the next-gen consoles, that is available to you. The Steam and PC versions, the PC version is going to be available through Battle.net, which shouldn't surprise anyone because this is Activision.
Yeah.
So, but those versions will be $40, and then the PS5 and Series X/S versions will be $60. So I think that this is a great move. I think that a lot of the problems that I had with Crash 4 were definitely the loading times. But since I was like listening to a podcast, or I could like check my phone or whatever, I didn't really care that much. But definitely to those that want to sort of get themselves into the world of Crash 4, and having these long loading times, and also 60 FPS is definitely like a very nice touch. I think that like me and you have said on this podcast before, 60 FPS is something that I think should be very highly valued within this generation.
I think 60 FPS should just be the standard at this point. Anything below that just feels weird now. And yeah, I think this is a great move. I mean, we both played the game on a base PS4, right? Like
Yep.
we both didn't have a PS4 Pro. Obviously, we didn't have a PS5 at the time, and obviously the load times were very very long, and the FPS really wasn't consistent. Like it was like on the base PS4 it tried to be 60, but not really. Like I think most of the time it didn't hit 60. On a PS4 Pro, most of the time it was 60, but it was still dip.
hmm
So hopefully with next gen upgrades, it could stay a nice consistent 60 FPS with like pretty short load times. I think that would help a lot of people's complaints with the game, especially like technically, since the game is great. Like obviously we both think the game is great,
hmm
but all these little improvements will really help the game in the long run. As for the Switch and PC version, you know, I don't know how the Switch version is gonna fare. I mean, it already looks really crusty, and if you want to play it on Switch, go ahead. I probably wouldn't recommend it, but you could do that. And PC is also just great to see it on PC as well. So yeah, and again, the free upgrade and the save transfer option is really great as well. So I'm probably looking forward to it. I do want to do the what do you call it? The insane, not the insane mode, inverted. Like I would like to go back and do that with the new technical upgrades. So I'll probably
hmm
go back and do that at some point. So
Yeah, I think for the Switch version, they're actually like, I think they redid the models to make them look more cell shaded, but at the same
oh
time, like lower the resolution. I forget exactly what the tweet was. I forgot to save it, but pretty much they did a workaround for the Switch version. Instead of just like trying to port the game as is, they actually like redid the models to make it look better than it was before, I guess, if you will. So
right.
they're just doing their own way of porting it on the Switch, which I think is nice because, most of the time when it's like, oh, okay, it's available on, PS4 or like PS5 or whatever, or both. And then it's like, oh, there's also a Switch version. Switch version is probably going to be really bad because of just how the
Yeah.
Switch is. And it's just the limitations of the console right now, if they're going to make a Switch Pro or whatever in the future. But yeah, I really like that Activision decided to, or whoever behind the scenes decided to just, well, let's just redo the models a little bit to make them look better on this console. So,
Yeah, that's actually a lot extra work that they didn't have to do,
hmm
but it's really appreciated since a lot of people want to play this on Switch.
yeah.
Again, I don't really know why. I mean, Crouch is right is like a Sony thing. I know he's not really, but he kind of is in my heart still.
hmm
So it just feels weird still. And I mean, if you want to play on the Switch, go ahead. It's available. But yeah, it's cool that they're going through the extra work to optimize it for the Switch. Because again, Switch is very underpowered compared to like everything else at this point. So,
Yeah.
but again, very very cool.
hmm
So next we got some very exciting news.
Yes,
Ratchet
sir.
Clank Rift Apart is launching June 11th. So this was kind of a delay a bit since they said it was supposed to be first quarter, but
hmm
I don't think this is first quarter anymore because first quarter ends in like March, I think. So
Yeah.
obviously it's been pushed back to June 11th. It's gonna be a full-length adventure, like they said. They said that before as well. So no like Into the Nexus or even the 2016 game was kind of a budget game, if you will, if you want to call it that.
hmm
And they have a quote here saying, "If you've never played a Ratchet Clank game before, this is an excellent one to start with, as the adventure is a standalone storyline, but longtime fans of the series will find deeper layers of connection to the previous games.
hmm
They will have a digital and launch edition, so kind of like Miles, and is going to be coming with the Carbonox armor, which is the final armor from Going Commando, and the Pixelizer from the 2016 game.
hmm
Going to be $70. They're staying with that $70 price point.
Yep.
And there will also be a digital deluxe edition, which you can actually upgrade from the physical edition. By the way, apparently, Sony clarified that if you buy the physical launch edition, which I'm gonna do, you can just upgrade it through the game if you wanted to do that. And that comes
hmm
with 5 armor sets, photo mode stickers, because of course everything has to have a photo mode now. 20 raritanium, and the soundtrack and art book, digital soundtrack and art book. So. Obviously, I'm very excited. The trailer they showed wasn't really anything much. Like they kind of just showed like it's coming out June 11th. Here's the cool stuff.
hmm
And obviously, dude, the Carbonox armor looks so goddamn good. Obviously, again, this is the final armor from Going Commando, and it looks so good in HD, and I love it. Obviously the pixelizer is whatever. I mean, it was a cool weapon. It was kind of
Yeah.
just a shotgun. It was good, but who really cares? And I know some people are kind of upset that it's like, oh yeah, pre-order it to get the Carbonox and Pixelizer, but I don't think that's the case. I think they're
Yeah. I
doing
don't
what
think you need to
they're
do
doing
that.
what Miles did, where
hmm
if if you buy this launch edition, you just get it earlier. Like you can still get the Spider-Verse suit in Miles by itself, but you just get it in the beginning. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
Yeah, and then on top of that, it seems like this Ratchet and Clank game is using a different armor system. It looks like it's using more of the Spider-Man armor system. This is all speculation, matter. I have no proof of this, but 5 armor sets plus the Carbonox armor that equals 6 armor sets. And in a Ratchet and Clank games, usually like 4 armors. It's very linear of the armor upgrades. So I'm
Hmm.
thinking they're gonna go more for a Spider-Man thing where your costume is mostly cosmetic, but you could like mod your armor to do different things. That's what I'm getting from this because that's a lot of armor sets from just getting
Yeah.
the digital deluxe edition. So yeah, June 11th. A lot further away than I thought, but I'm still very hyped for it. What do you think about it?
Yeah, it's very exciting. Ratchet and Clank, a full length adventure. We haven't had one since A Crack in Time, I believe.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is very exciting. I still remember buying A Crack in Time and enjoying the living hell out of it because it is just such a good Ratchet and Clank game. Despite the duo being separated from most of the game, that was like my main complaint when I was younger. But like when I like replay it like recently, I'm like, this is still like a really good Ratchet and Clank game because they're able to do the Ratchet sections and the Clank sections, but also like sort of get away with having them be separate and all this other stuff. But the game, like you said, the trailer is whatever. Like Insomniac is being very vague and very much like trying to keep this under wraps because Ratchet and Clank is their baby, and they don't want to show too much before it comes out, which is understandable. I would imagine that like it might be like a Game Informer exclusive thing, like what they've done with the previous Spider-Man games with Miles Morales and the 2018 game, where like Game Informer got like exclusive stuff to show off and whatever. So that might happen again with Ratchet and Clank. But yeah, the Going Commando armor looks really, really good. Like you said, the digital deluxe edition with the 5 armor sets. That does sound pretty much like what they're probably gonna do because 5 armor sets to start off, or 6 in total. That's a lot, So,
Yeah.
and to those people that say that like it's exclusive to like pre-orders or like launch day editions, like I mean, you saw what Insomniac did with their other games, right? Like you should know at this point that like they're probably going to be unlocked through gameplay as well because I think that Insomniac is not stupid. Like they know what people or what gamers, if you will, want within like DLC and stuff. Like they don't like it when it's like locked behind a paywall or like a pre-order thing.
Yeah.
When it should be unlocked through gameplay. And I think that we're moving back towards that. And I think that that is very good, especially for, us as people who play and consume video games. Because I still remember Mod Nation Racers. It was like, yo,
Yeah.
you fucking pre-order this, you get like the Sly skin or like the Ratchet skin. And then it was like GameStop, you got Kratos. I was like, I don't want fucking Kratos. I want Sly or Ratchet. But like, shit happens. So I'm really glad that, like, it's probably going to be unlocked through gameplay because it would be very hard for me to believe that like Insomniac would do that where it's like it's only through pre-orders because it says pre-order now for early unlock bonuses early. So
Yeah.
obviously like that is alluding to you could probably unlock it in game and stuff like that. So $70, I'm not surprised because I think that Sony clarified before the PS5 even launched that like $70 is going to be like the standard for like first party PlayStation Studios games or whatever. So this game being 70, it might be a little hard for some people that aren't Ratchet and Clank fans to buy it just because it is a platformer within 2021. And I think that that is a bullet very hard to swallow for a lot of people. But, for me and Damien, we're 100% going to bite the bullet on this one and just play
Yeah.
it. So,
I mean, I definitely think Ratchet and Clank games are actually really good value anyway, since they're a challenge mode or New Game Plus as is nowadays. I think they offer a lot of value. I mean, as a kid, like I just played Ratchet and Clank like all of them like so many times just because there was so many things to do after the game, and it could obviously last you for like 30 hours if you wanted to. So I mean, I think it would be a good value. I mean, obviously $70 is still a lot for a platformer,
mhm.
but I think Ratchet and Clank has always been pretty good with its value in terms of like gameplay. Um, and yeah, again, more with the pre-ordering stuff. Yeah, again, I agree 100% with you. Where yeah, they're gonna make it like available for everyone. At least the Carbonox and Pexelizer are gonna definitely be like in the game, I believe.
Mhm.
I think they learned a lesson from 2016 where the bouncer that was only available for pre-order. Like I actually played the game again, and since I had my own PS4, because my brother got a PS4 Pro, so he just gave me the old PS4 or whatever.
Mhm.
I just didn't have the bouncer, so and there was no way to get it, so that was really lame. So I'm glad that Sony aren't like doing that anymore because that's dumb. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's cool that they're just early unlocks instead. But yeah, the price definitely gonna be kind of an issue for some people. Obviously not for me. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy the deluxe edition probably as well. But we'll see. And yeah, I'm just very hyped for it. It looks amazing.
Yeah, I just want to know who this female linebacker is, but we'll get there when we get there,
we
right?
still don't know. So, yeah.
All right, so next piece of news is Kingdom Hearts is coming to PC exclusively to the FE Game Store. And this is pretty big news for Kingdom Hearts fans because I believe they've been wanting the series on PC for a long, long time. So it's coming to the Epic Game Store, but also the games are like $50 to $60 each. So that's kind of crazy. I think the Melody of Memory, which is the newest game, $60, I think that's reasonable. But all of the other games, like you could get all of those on like PlayStation 4 for like $60 altogether, if you will.
Yeah, I literally have every single. I haven't played any of them yet, but I literally have every single Kingdom Hearts, like the 2 Kingdom Hearts collections plus Kingdom Hearts 3, and I bought it for like $60, all of them. Like all of it. So definitely having each thing be 60 is awful. Like I don't get why. And obviously Epic Game Store. I don't really care, but I know some people are still really like pissed about it. And honestly, it kind of doesn't make any sense. I don't know why Square is putting it on Epic Game Store. I mean, Square's like loyalty is really weird with a lot of things. So I don't really know what they're doing here. I don't know why it's not on Steam since a lot of Square stuff is on Steam anyway. Like Avengers is on Steam. All the Final Fantasies are on Steam. It's really weird that Kingdom Hearts is like an Epic Game Store exclusive. Epic must have paid big bucks for that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put it out there. Epic Games threw that Fortnite bucks at them, and they were like, "Well, I guess we'll do it."
Yeah. So obviously, if you want to play Kingdom Hearts on PC, it's an option. I'll say just wait for sales, since it's probably going to go on sale pretty quickly. Again, or if you have a PS4, just buy it on that, since the Kingdom Hearts games always on sale. So you can pick them up all really cheap, including Kingdom Hearts 3 is arriving like $30 at this point. So I'll just say either wait for a sale or just buy it on PS4. I don't think this is worth it at the moment. And again, if you don't like the Epic Game Store, maybe it might go on Steam next year, maybe not. So I'll say just wait. I don't think this is worth it at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, just to like do a little tangent, a little story of mine. Kingdom Hearts 3, I actually bought that at launch for $60 because I was like, what? Yeah, I did. I was like, you know what? This has been a game that a lot of people have been waiting for a long time. It's probably going to sell millions of copies anyways, but I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let me just, buy it. Maybe I'll play it. Still haven't played it. And now the game, like, I believe this past Black Friday, it was like as low as $10. And I was like, fuck. God damn it. But, I just wanted to buy it because I thought that, it's a game that has been sort of like alluded for a long time. Even before it was officially announced as Kingdom Hearts 3, people have wanted Kingdom Hearts 3 since the PS2 days, since the PS3 days. So the fact that it was finally out, I was like, fuck it, let me just buy it and see what all the fuss is about. Still haven't played it yet because, Kingdom Hearts as a series is very, very much hard to get into because of all the different games and the different timelines, and the games are long too. So but yeah, definitely them putting it exclusively on Epic Game Store is a bit weird. And then the pricing is also a little weird as well. Yeah, I have no idea what their mindset was behind doing each individual sort of like bundle as $60. But yeah, it just seems really strange.
Yeah, that's really greedy and low dumb. Not gonna lie. Again, like the collections are still great value since you get like 3-4 games in one. But for $60, probably not. You could just get it for way cheaper at other platforms at this point. All right. So next we have a lot of Sonic news here. So Ben Schwartz. So he was the voice for Sonic in the movie, I believe, right? Yeah, so basically, as we know, as we covered last podcast, they are changing the voice actor for Sonic, or in the games anyway, or in the franchise, Sonic franchise, as they're saying. And Ben Schwartz basically saying no one asked him to do the out of our future Sonic stuff, so he's probably just gonna say movie Sonic, I guess.
Yeah. If I had to guess, yeah, because I don't like he did a good job in the movie, but it would be very strange for like after one movie they're like, fuck it, we'll make him the main voice. I'm like, I don't know if he wants to do that, if like he's up for it. I mean, I would imagine because he is like a big fan of Sonic, he might be up for it, but who knows? But yeah, I just think that, whoever they're going to get next, people are either going to love or they're going to hate it, just because, that's what happened with Roger Craig Smith when he first came on. I was like, I'm not sure if that's actually Sonic in my eyes, but, as time went on, he's done so much of Sonic over, I believe, almost like, or over 10 years at this point, it was like, all right, whatever, because if they're gonna, hire this person, no matter how much backlash the person's gonna get, I'm sure that Sega's probably gonna stick to their word of whoever they're gonna pick. So
Yeah, like, I mean, I still haven't watched the movie, so I can't really tell you how well he does at Sonic, the movie Sonic. But he sounded okay in the trailers that I watched, because that's the only things I've seen of him. I mean, you've seen it. You can probably have a better idea of how he sounds.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm okay with having separate like movie Sonic and like actual Sonic franchise. He doesn't really sound like Sonic to me. Like he does an okay job being Sonic, but I don't know. Like all the other past Sonics sound more like what I would think Sonic would sound like. But yeah, it's definitely like. I mean, it's kind of sad it didn't ask him at all, but that's just how it is,
Yeah, definitely. I just think that whoever they decide to get, if they actually go with Ben Schwartz, if they actually asked him after he came out with this little interview from the comicbook.com or whatever. But yeah, I just think that Ben Schwartz, he did a good job in the movie, but if they want to do separate or if they want to combine it all together, whatever Sega wants to do at this point, right? So
yeah.
Jason Momoa is rumored to be Knuckles in the Sonic 2 movie. So, look. I like Jason Momoa. He's a very fun actor. He did a good job in Aquaman. I'm gonna be honest. I really did like Aquaman. Some people will say that it's a really bad movie, which most of the DC movies are kind of bad, but at least they're fun to watch. I will stand by that Justice League, the original one, not the Zack Snyder one, because that one's not even out yet, but the Justice League that we have right now, I thought that was a fun movie. And Jason Momoa in Aquaman and everything that I've seen him so far, him being Knuckles, I can see it. I can kind of see it, honestly. But if they get someone else, it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, I'm not, exactly rallying for him, but I'm not going to, be 100% against him either. I'm kind of in the middle, if you will.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Like, I don't really see anyone else that could be Knuckles, honestly. Like, I mean, if Knuckles is going to be in the Sonic 2 movie, I don't know if he's going to be, like, a main focus, because obviously it looks like Tails is going to be, like, a main focus as the other character. I think having Knuckles might be a little too much. Like, maybe he could just be, like, there as a villain a little bit, but I don't know if he'll be, like a major character just yet, if they want to make this, like, a trilogy. I mean, because obviously Sonic 3 is where Knuckles actually comes in. But yeah, I mean, I have no problem with that. I mean, I never watched Aquaman, but he seems like a cool dude, Jason Momoa. I have no issue with him. And if he wants to be Knuckles, sure. I mean, he's a big boy, and Knuckles is a big boy, so he fits Knuckles. So yeah, I'm okay with that.
Definitely okay with it too. So.
All right, so and then the last bit of Sonic news here is that, like I just said, the Sonic 2 movie, obviously called Sonic the Hedgehog 2, is going to be coming April 8th in 2022. So obviously this is very much hints that Tails is going to be here for real. Yeah. Because I believe, spoiler, he was at the end credits, I think, for the Sonic movie, I think.
Yeah. At this point, it's not a spoiler. It was literally all over fucking Sonic Twitter, like whatever.
Yeah. So obviously, like, they played Emerald Hill in the background. That was kind of cool. Released Sonic 2, obviously. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Tails and like how he's going to fit in here. Into the Sonic cinematic universe. So it's gonna be very interesting to see what happens there.
Yeah, and because you haven't seen the movie, you haven't seen like what they've done differently with like the Sonic mythos, if you will.
Yeah, I haven't. No, yeah, I know he was like raised by an owl or something.
Yeah. So that stuff was definitely weird when I was first like in theaters on Valentine's Day last year. I was like, that's fucking weird. But they do a lot of different things with Sonic in the first movie, and I'm sure that they're gonna continue doing probably some more weird stuff, but also maybe connecting it to the games to see exactly how Tails came to be. How does he know Sonic? How do they become friends, etc., etc.? And if Knuckles is in Sonic 2, how he's gonna play a part in it. So yeah, I mean, hopefully by 2022 we're fucking over this coronavirus bullshit, because this is fucking ridiculous at this point. We're almost a year into this, so hopefully by that time it might be the first movie people see in theaters, because the last movie a lot of people saw in theaters was Sonic. Me personally, it was that Disney movie with Tom Holland and Chris Pratt. I forget the name of it because it was kind of forgettable.
Onward.
Yeah, Onward. Yep, that one. Yeah. I mean, it was whatever, but Sonic 2, April 8th, 2022. I think that's also the same day for Spider-Verse, so that's going to be interesting to say the least. So now we got some Last of Us HBO news. So they just surprisingly announced that the casting for the show. So we got Pedro Pascal as Joel, and then we got Bella Ramsey as Ellie. So first up, Pedro Pascal. I mean, if you watched The Mandalorian, you saw him in that show, and if you saw Wonder Woman, you also saw him there. I think that, from those two things that I've seen him in, I think he's obviously done other stuff that I have not seen him in. I think that he would be a pretty good fit for Joel. I mean, he's playing another father figure, if you will, in another series. And I can see him being Joel, like sort of similar to Joel. And I think that when this was first announced, especially with Bella Ramsey, and she's only been in Game of Thrones, so I have no idea, exactly how good she is as a actress. But people are saying, oh, she doesn't look like Ellie, or like Pedro doesn't look like Joel. I'm like, well, if they can act and if they could play these characters, like that's all I'm really concerned about, because Pedro has obviously shown his prowess as an actor within Mandalorian, especially in season 1. He was playing a guy with a helmet on the whole time, and he was still able to sort of emote and show how the Mandalorian was feeling. And obviously within season 2, he does take off his helmet more, so you get to see his actual face. And yeah, I'm very excited to see what this sort of HBO series entails, because I know that they're just going to retell The Last of Us 1, I believe. So I wonder exactly if they're going to take any other directions, or put other side stories in there with Joel and Ellie, because obviously after The Last of Us 2, I'm not going to spoil anything from that, but after that, obviously people want more of Ellie and Joel and, sort of like their adventures. So
Right. I mean, I honestly think this would be a good way to sort of like tie elements from Last of Us 2 into Last of Us 1 more elegantly. I think a lot of problems people have with Last of Us 2 is that, maybe things feel like they come out of nowhere, or like a certain character, as you can probably guess what I'm trying to say here, probably comes out of nowhere to some people. So it'd probably be cool if that character actually shows up in the HBO show a little more, to like sort of like, I mean, I don't know how long this is going to go on for. Like, I don't know if they are going to just do like maybe like season 1, or like maybe the earlier seasons going to be about like Last of Us Part 1, and then the whatever other seasons could be about Last of Us Part 2. But I think it would be cool if they made more like character development for certain characters, and like sort of fit it into the whole like series, if you know what I mean. Again, I don't want to say much, but because the game's still kind of new, and I know people are mad, it's a whole thing. I think it would be cool if they kind of like not fix it, but sort of just like, hey, this is kind of like, a more elegant way of how we could do things, since, HBO, the writers of the HBO show obviously know Last of Us 2 Last of Us Part 2 exists now, so they could probably write that in mind with the original like game. So yeah, I honestly think it could be cool, and I think the cast is pretty good. Obviously I don't really know the Game of Thrones lady too much, but Pedro Pascal is really good in Mandalorian, and I honestly really liked him in Wonder Woman, even though I didn't like that movie very much. He was still really good in it. So
agreed.
And him as Joel, I have no problem with that. I think he will fit that character pretty well. And yeah, I mean, hopefully it's good. Again, I usually don't really have much interest in Last of Us, just because I'm not really into that sort of gameplay, being like kind of stealthy, like kind of like that. Like I'm not into that sort of stuff. So if the show is good, I don't know, maybe I'll watch it. We just gotta see.
I mean, Neil Druckmann is very much hands-on for this project, so that's gonna be very good to see. Despite like whatever you feel on Part 2, like this guy obviously knows these characters, and he's been in this franchise since the start. So I think having him be a part of the HBO series is a good thing. There's probably some people on Twitter that will say that that is a bad thing after what he did in Part 2, but it is what it is. But yeah, very much excited to see what will come of the Last of Us series, especially after hopefully a first trailer, so yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, this is gonna be a good time for like video game adaptations in general, since now we got a Mortal Kombat one. Obviously, that was a good segue, but I was just going to talk about the Uncharted movie also coming out. So it looks like these companies are starting to take video games a little more seriously. And I mean, I'm going to talk about a Mortal Kombat trailer, and it probably doesn't take itself that as seriously as, something like Uncharted or Last of Us. But yeah, they released a trailer for Mortal Kombat 2021. Obviously, the movie's coming out. And I think it looks pretty good. It's basically what I wanted a Mortal Kombat movie to kind of look like. There's obviously like actual like blood and stuff. Since the older Mortal Kombat movies like were just like PG-13, I believe, and it couldn't really do much for some reason. I don't know why have a Mortal Kombat movie and not have the absurd like violence. That's kind of its identity. But yeah, it looks really great and over the top, and I mean, I really liked Mortal Kombat 11. I didn't play it, but I actually watched someone play the whole story mode, and it's so ridiculous and dumb that I really liked it. Um, and yeah, if the movie could have that same energy, which it looks like it's having, I'll be down with it. Like the part where Sub-Zero like cuts Scorpion and then he turned his blood into like a knife. I'm like, that's so dumb, and I love it. So yeah, but yeah, I think it looks pretty good. Like maybe a little cheesy, but that's kind of what you're in for.
Yeah, definitely. I think when I was watching this trailer, I was like smiling because I was like, man, this shit is just so dumb.
Yeah.
But seeing it actually play out and actually it being R-rated, I think is very good. I think that what movie studios are probably realizing is that like just because it is R-rated doesn't mean it's gonna flop, especially after Deadpool 1's success of being a R-rated superhero movie. But obviously, like that was a superhero movie. This is Mortal Kombat we're talking about here, which might be a little less well known. But yeah, it does look like a lot of fun. I will say that because that's just what Mortal Kombat is. It is very much sort of cheesy, sort of campy, if you will. And yeah, it looks like that they are using the characters well. I think that a lot of the sort of aesthetics of how the characters look and the action sequences we saw in this trailer looked kind of fun. So it's going to be streaming on HBO Max and in theaters on April 16th. So very soon, very, very soon.
Yeah, it's coming out like a lot sooner than I thought.
All right, so next we got the I believe that this was the Super Bowl trailer that they dropped or whatever for the Falcon and Winter Soldier. So pretty much the first, I guess, full-length trailer for this show that actually like gave us a sort of idea of what's going on. So yeah, I mean it looks like the Falcon and Winter Soldier just bullshitting and just action show. So it looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that WandaVision, they're really doing different genres with these. WandaVision more of like a mystery and like psychological like type of show, while Falcon and Winter Soldier is kind of what you expect from like a Captain America quote unquote movie. Even though Captain America isn't around. More action based, more like spy stuff. And I'm down for that because I'm down for the Falcon to get more screen time since I think Bucky got a lot. But the Falcon kind of gets shafted a lot, so it's gonna be great to see both of them like sort of working together. He has a buddy cop type of thing. So yeah, I'm totally down for it, and it's coming out real soon. I believe it's coming out March something. As soon as WandaVision ends, I think is gonna start.
Yeah, it's coming out next month, March 19th.
Yeah, so it's coming out real soon, and it's gonna be a great way to keep you on Disney Plus since Disney's like, nope, you're not leaving this time. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think a lot of what they originally had planned sort of involved a virus or disease that was similar to the coronavirus. So I think that they I think they had to like rework the show a little bit because of that, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I'm just excited to see what this final product has in store and exactly who's going to be the next Captain America, because I know Anthony Mackie in interviews, he's been very much like, well, like Captain America did give him the shield, but he didn't fully become Captain America. And I guess that's what this show is going to fully explore and entail. And there's also other rumors of like other, Marvel characters showing up because of the whole like Fox deal that they had. So, but yeah, hopefully this show is just as good, if not better than WandaVision. That's just, my hopes for it. That's pretty much about it.
All right, so again, one more Marvel stuff. We got Tom Holland's denying that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield is going to be involved in Spider-Man 3. And he has two quotes here. He said, I honestly have no idea what this film is about, and I'm 8 weeks into shooting it. He's only like kind of kidding. But he says firmly, no, they will not be appearing in this film. Unless they have hidden the most massive piece of information from me, which I just think is too big of a secret for them to keep secret from me. But as yet, no, it will be a continuation of the Spider-Man movies that we've been making. So I think he's a little, it's full of shit. I think he's lying. Obviously, I don't know if he, if you just ask him straight up, hey, is Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in the new Spider-Man movie? Obviously, he's gonna say no. But I honestly think they are gonna show up like as a cameo. I think there's been too many like sources and like rumors saying that this is gonna happen that I think at this point it kind of has to happen. I'm kind of in this camp now. Maybe if you asked me a few months ago, I would be like, oh, maybe he's right. But now I'm just like, bro, is not in this movie? I don't even know anymore. Like, especially since they've been kind of with WandaVision, they've been kind of going like weird with maybe there might be like different dimension version, multiverse versions of people. We don't know. So like
Hmm.
it makes sense, and especially with all the other future Marvel stuff being very into the different dimensions and other people and stuff. So yeah, honestly, it's too much of a coincidence to say no, they won't be in this movie. Like they have to be.
Yeah, and I mean, like Tom Holland. I mean, this interview, like this article, I think everyone should read because I think it does really give us some insight in terms of who Tom Holland is as an actor and his upcoming movie Cherry. So I definitely had a good time reading it, and I recommend everyone to read it and not just like the whole Marvel bits within it. But anyways, him denying the whole Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield thing. I mean, I think a while ago he said that this was going to be the most ambitious superhero movie or something like that, and like now he has no idea what's going on. And I'm like, I don't know, bro. You're kind of contradicting yourself. I'm sure like the people at Marvel are like, hey, yo, like this interview, you can't say anything, okay, bro? You cannot say anything. So yeah, who knows exactly what's happening? I know that Spider-Man 3, they recently started filming on the area that they filmed for Infinity War and Endgame within like that final sequence or whatever, like the big battles, like they're filming on that set or whatever.
Yeah.
So that is very interesting because at this point, who the hell knows what Spider-Man 3 is going to be about, because we've had reports of Jamie Foxx and like he sort of leaked it before deleting the Instagram post. The guy who played Doc Ock, obviously Doctor Strange is going to be in it. We've had rumors of Charlie Cox returning as Daredevil. Like there's so much up with this film. They're just trying to keep it under wraps. In this newest interview with him denying it, everyone's like he's full of shit, which he kind of is, gonna be honest. So yeah, we just have to wait and see exactly the first trailer, and I'm sure whenever that trailer drops, it's gonna be the most viewed thing on the planet for like the next week, because depending on what they put in that trailer, it's gonna pop off. So, and I'm sure Sony and Marvel know that, so they want to probably wait until the whole coronavirus thing actually gets under control before they start hyping this movie up. That because we've been sitting in Black Widow limbo for like however many months now,
Yeah.
so, and obviously the hype for that movie is very much gone. I feel, I mean, there's still some people that are excited for it, but I feel like for the most part, when it comes to Marvel fans, their eyes are on WandaVision right now, and Black Widow is like whatever to them. But obviously with Spider-Man 3, I feel like that obviously it's a different case compared to Black Widow, because this is goddamn Spider-Man we're talking about here. But I'm sure that Marvel and Sony want to make sure that whenever they start promoting this movie, they are able to get as much bang for their buck as possible.
Yeah, I definitely feel that as well, especially with Black Widow, because I kind of don't care anymore either. So until it comes out, obviously, but right now I'm like, yeah, I'm full into WandaVision and whatever other future movies are coming out, like Spider-Man 3 and Doctor Strange. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see when that trailer comes out and if they actually are gonna like just show them out like, yo, here's Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. That'd be crazy. I don't think they're gonna do that, but we'll see.
Yeah. All right, so now we got Zack Snyder's Justice League trailer. It is coming out, I believe, next month. There's a date in the description or at the end of the stupid video because I forgot the date. But anyways, the trailer. Oh, okay, March 18th. So less than a month now. But the trailer itself, I thought was fine. It pretty much shows, I guess, what Zack Snyder initially envisioned for Justice League to be, even outside of a theatrical release. I'm sure that this is like his full version of Justice League. This is gonna be like a 4-hour thing, and we got to see Jared Leto back as the Joker.
We live in a society. You
Yeah,
said it.
he said it. He said it, which was a pretty big meme, and I think rolled a lot of eyes for some people, but for me personally, I was like, well, let's see exactly on how the Joker plays into this Justice League movie, because there's obviously a lot going on for a 4-hour movie to begin with. So yeah, I mean, like, I have HBO Max still, just because I guess me and my brother are just gonna continue paying for it, because I still have to finish watching Euphoria and Steven Universe and a bunch of other stuff. So we'll keep it on just for a little bit longer, because I mean, let's see what this Justice League's all about.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'll watch it because I don't really care about the DCU that much. If
Hmm.
it's good, maybe, but I kind of doubt it still. I mean, like, I don't know. Like people are saying this is gonna be like the savior of like this movie. It's gonna be great, and I don't know, man. Like the DCU has been kind of a train wreck, and I just don't really care that much. You know, they made some good movies. Like again, Shazam and the first Wonder Woman were really good. I don't even know if I count Joker in that category because I mean that was a great movie, but I don't know if I really count it with like this DCU stuff as like its own thing.
Hmm.
Um, but so yeah, obviously DC has made some good stuff, but most of the time I feel like that misses for me, and I highly doubt this is gonna convince me that the DCU is saved or like this movie is gonna be good in any way. I think it's just gonna be the same movie but just way longer and more annoying. I mean, I don't know. I don't really have much faith in it. I mean, Jared Leto saying we live in a society made me kind of happy because it's dumb, but I don't know. I don't know what to think about it. We just gotta wait and see. Again, people are really hyped for it, and I hope it's okay, but I kind of doubt it.
Yeah, I think the way Zack Snyder views the Justice League characters in general is kind of weird because, like in Man of Steel, Superman straight up kills the
Zod or whatever.
yeah,
his
he
name is.
straight up kills him. Then in Batman v Superman, Batman's just using guns and like killing people, and I was like, well, I'm not sure if this guy really knows how these characters are supposed to work. But yeah, say what you will about Zack Snyder, he does have a huge fan base of people that really do like his movies and really do like the stories that he has to tell. But yeah, I mean, 4 hours, they're probably going to be able to flesh out as much of the characters as possible, especially the newer ones like Flash and Cyborg. I think that those two really need, that extra attention within this movie in particular, because outside of this movie, they don't have anything else, So, I know a lot about the Flash because of the CW show, but that's obviously like a different incarnation of the character. But yeah, 4 hours. It's definitely going to be very interesting to see what the reception is when it does come out next month on the 18th. So.
Yep. And then the last bit of news is the Demon Slayer Season 2 trailer. Obviously the movie isn't out yet, but yeah, this trailer doesn't have much in it. More just saying like this is like I guess like where the new arc is gonna be placed at, I think.
Yep.
And like yeah, okay, because obviously Travis read the manga. I haven't because I want to see it animated. But it looks great. Obviously I really like Demon Slayer Season 1. I'm waiting for the movie so I can actually like watch it and like catch up with it. Travis could probably just jump in straight ahead as soon as the anime starts airing. Obviously everyone else gotta wait for the movie, whenever that's gonna happen. But yeah, looks great. I'm into Demon Slayer. Obviously Travis, you could probably go into it some
Yeah,
more.
if y'all know me, I love my Demon Slayer. I just picked up volume 20 of the manga. There's only 3 more left. I'm kind of sad, but hopefully the ending isn't as bad as people say it is. But yeah, hopefully the movie gets released beforehand, because this is the problem when you release a movie of an anime and it's fully tied in with the main canon. Because with both My Hero movies, they're sort of like, like what if stories.
Right.
And, the way they tie those together. The first one did it kind of nicely. The second one was kind of bullshit, I'm going to be honest. But
Yeah.
we'll not talk about that because we've already discussed our piece on that one.
It's kind of like a double-edged sword because I kind of don't like anime movies
Mm-hmm.
because they usually feel pointless. Like a lot of Dragon Ball Z ones, like obviously not now because like Battle of the Gods and stuff were like all canon, but
Mm-hmm.
the older ones like Broly or the Tree of Might or whatever, Jerumba or whatever. All of those were non-canon technically, and like they try to make it canon, but now they're just like non-canon. Like, well, what was the point of that? And then the My Hero ones, obviously the first movie I think did okay with its continuity. With the second one, it's kind of like okay, that was a little dumb. So but when you have it tied in, it's way more hype because you're getting that movie quality, and it's like oh, this actually matters. But you also get that again, that double-edged sword where it's like okay, now I need to wait for it to be like subbed or whatever, and then you gotta wait for it to come here, and they
Mm-hmm.
might not do a theatrical release. Then you gotta wait for the Blu-ray. Usually they don't go on the streaming sites. So yeah, that's also a big issue with that. So yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword with anime movies in general. And
Mm-hmm.
I think most of the time I kind of just like them when they're original anime movies, like Your Name, because they don't rely on any series to like keep it afloat or whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I'm just waiting for the movie. Gonna watch season 2 when that happens. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I would imagine that season 2 for Demon Slayer is going to come out towards the end of this year, so probably like fall 2021. If not, it's probably gonna get delayed because I'm sure Ufotable, they know how much hype and how much weight they have on this series now, and they want to make sure that they're animating it as nicely as they can, because if you've seen with Attack on Titan community and some other anime Twitter people, like, oh my god, the animation's so bad, or it just looks terrible. But like after watching the Trash Taste episode where they talked to that animation guy, I was like, man, like these animators really get fucked over. So I'm glad I don't complain about animation as much as these other Twitter people do when they have no idea what's going on with that. But going back to season 2, I mean, the movie has to come out before season 2, right? Because they know that this heavily ties into Demon Slayer, and a lot does happen within the movie. So I feel like that if they aren't able to localize and sort of get people a way to watch the movie, it's definitely going to be very hard for people to watch season 2, because when season 2 happens, because like I said, I think a couple episodes ago, there was like a sort of rumor going around, like if they wanted to do a second Demon Slayer movie, or if they wanted to do a TV season again with this next arc, which is the Entertainment District arc. And this arc is much longer than the movie. Like I think the movie takes up 2 volumes of the manga, while this arc takes up like 3 to 4. I forget exactly how many, but this arc is kind of long and a lot does happen, and it is like really, really cool. Not to say that the train arc, like the movie, the reason why people love the movie so much is because of actually what happens, and I'm sure of how it's animated as well. So yeah, I'm obviously a goddamn Demon Slayer fanboy, so I'm excited regardless. But yeah, it's hard for me to think that like they would release season 2 without having a way for people to watch the movie, So I'm sure that they're gonna work on that. I forget exactly which date the movie's supposed to come out, but it's supposed to be like very soon, like within the next month or 2 within theaters. So if anyone wants to risk their lives to go watch the Demon Slayer movie, go for it. I'm not gonna stop you, but just be safe, be careful, all that other stuff, because the COVID virus is still out there. So but yeah, hopefully it does come to Blu-ray so I could just buy that shit, watch it at home, or if they happen to cut a deal with the streaming service, like that would be kind of dope, but I doubt that would happen. But yeah,
they want to make more money.
Yeah. I mean, this is a movie, so it obviously cost them a lot, but they probably made a lot of money from just Japan alone. So like, it's okay, guys.
It's just weird because I feel like Japan's the only one that really cares about like Blu-rays and stuff. Like, I don't really feel like a lot of Western people. I know you really like your Blu-rays, but like, I feel like a lot of Western people are just like put it on a streaming platform or something. If we can't watch it in a theater, you know what I mean? So yeah, hopefully they listen to that. And like, I mean, obviously I wouldn't want to, but hopefully they could just put on Crunchyroll, like, hey, pay 10 or $20 to watch it. I'm like, fine, I guess. But hopefully they don't do that. Hopefully it's just on like Crunchyroll or Funimation or something. Because I don't wanna get the Blu-ray. That'll cost way more, and I'm probably gonna watch it like once. So yeah, hopefully that could happen. I guess we have to wait and see what their release strategy is for the movie, and so I could actually watch season 2. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely, because I think that when it comes to Demon Slayer, obviously people will do whatever they can to watch this movie, I feel, because it's been out in Japan for so long and there's been so much press around it because people who have seen it in Japan and everything that's been going on with that. So yeah, I very much also want to see this movie, even though I know what happens. Like I just want to see this shit animated because I hear it's really fucking hype. So yeah, we'll move on from there. Let's get into our recent activities. We'll start off with Mario 3D World. So yeah, I'll let you go first real quick and then give it to me before you splurge on everything.
Okay, so it's really good. I mean, obviously I really like 3D World in general. I think as I've played more 3D platformers recently, I think I've been really starting to like more level-based 3D platformers. I mean, I kind of count Galaxy in that camp at this point, since a lot of the stars are very linear with a tighter level design. Like everything feels a lot more creative since you could do a bunch of crazy stuff on like more open world, like sort of 3D platformers like Banjo-Kazooie or like what do you call it? I guess Mario Odyssey even, like where Odyssey has more open-ended level design, but I feel like the platforming isn't as tight as it is in like Galaxy and even in 3D World. So yeah, I've been really enjoying it again. The base game itself is super fun. I think they fixed where you have to get like the top of a flagpole and everyone. I don't think you need that for 100% anymore. I hope not, because I'm trying to get 100% in this game because I don't think I did that in the Wii U version because of the you needed everyone to have the golden flagpole. Maybe they did. I don't know. They probably do, honestly. But right now I'm really enjoying it. But obviously I spend most of my time playing Bowser's Fury. But I want to get Travis's opinion on just the base game itself before I really go into that.
Oh yeah, the base game was the first thing I actually started. I didn't touch Bowser's Fury until yesterday. But yeah, Mario 3D World, I had expectations going into it that I was still gonna enjoy it, and I still did. I played the first world by myself, and then our friend Kofi decided to join in on me after that. And when I told him that we shared lives, he instantly suicided, and we lost a life. And I was like, I hate this guy. Why did I tell him that I was playing this game? I should have just said that I was browsing Twitter. But anyways, Mario 3D World. I never played it with multiplayer, so that's pretty much like most of my experience with it. I played it with Kofi. And yeah, I mean, it's still super duper fun. The different characters and their different attributes, I think, still is like a very key factor for this game. So like I like playing as Mario just because he's the all around character. Playing as Luigi, he's too slippery. His fucking jumps weird. Playing as Peach, like she is like the easy mode, but I feel like her hover should be a little longer just to make her like that much OP. And then Toad's just like super fast with like a really shitty
fast.
jump. Yeah. And I'm like, I just like Mario because he's just the all around character. But overall, playing it is still really, really fun. I still get a kick out of, just like playing through each level. The side scrollers me and Kobe suck dick on. I'm going to be honest. We were really, really bad because we're trying to get everything on like our first run. And, sometimes when it's like an obvious like star and we miss it, I'm like, all right, fuck it. I'm just going to restart, whatever. But I definitely started trolling and like messing up at the end, I'm going to be honest. But yeah, still overall, I'm only like 3 worlds in. I think I have to start on the 4th one soon. But yeah, Super Mario 3D World. I don't know why a lot of people have been recently coming out and saying that like this is a bad 3D Mario game and stuff like that. But I mean, I think it still holds up. It came out like what 2017 or something like that.
What 3D World?
Yeah, 3D World. I think it came out like
2013.
Oh my God! Wait,
yeah,
I'm
very
old. Oh yeah,
I know.
Hold on. I just remembered. Yeah, 2013. Because I recently looked at my video that I did on that game. Holy shit! Do not watch that video. But yeah, it did come out in 2013. Thank you for correcting me. Yeah, this game is really old and it's still really, really good. So
I kind of just want to bring up. I honestly think people should give this game another shot if you didn't like it before, because I think with Odyssey existing now, I think it's more easy to appreciate 3D World for what it is and what it isn't. You know what I mean? Like, it's meant to be more harkened back into. Obviously, it takes from 3D Land, obviously, because like a direct sequel to that. But it's supposed to be more like a classic Mario, but with 3D Mario elements into it. And I think it blends it really well, while still having that very like Super Mario Galaxy design that I really really like, since Galaxy 1 and 2 are like my favorite Mario games. So I just like love 3D World just as much as those games. And again, with Odyssey existing, you have your open world Mario game now with your more linear level based one. And I think it's just easier to appreciate 3D World now that Odyssey exists. And yeah, again, like the creativity in this game is just fantastic. Like so many levels are just so creative, so vibrant. Obviously the double cherry pass is so like a really good level. All the cat like suit Mario focused levels are really fun. Yeah, the level like varieties is super great. The game is still really gorgeous. Music is banging, dude. I love it. And yeah, I just the base Mario 3D World is fantastic. I still highly recommend it, especially if you've never played it before. So
yeah, even for $60. So
okay, well maybe not for $60, but I get into that when I talk about the other
so Bowser's Fury, what did you think about the was it like 3 to 4 hours or something like that?
It took me like 6 hours to 100% the whole thing, so a lot longer than I thought it was gonna take me. Honestly, I know I'm a little slow when it comes to things because I like to look at every single thing. I play games pretty slowly, so you probably beat it in a little shorter. But for me, it took me 6 hours to 100% the whole thing. And I thought it was really really good. I think this was a great sort of like fusion of like 3D World plus Odyssey to make it its own like sort of 3D Mario experience, where in this one it sort of works like, I guess it's kind of hard to describe since it kind of works like Mario 64 plus Odyssey, because
Mm-hmm.
you have your giant open world, right? Sort of like your Peach's castle, right? Where you have shines all throughout like the castle, and you got to find them. And this one, you got to find them all throughout the island. But you also have these smaller islands that act sort of like the worlds in like Mario 64 or even in Odyssey, where you have like the bomb battlefield, you have like 5 stars to find. It works the same way, except it's in a way smaller scale, where you have this tiny island, and that tiny island inside the big island has like 5 shines in it. So then you
Mm-hmm.
would do those levels and get all the shines in that particular island. And I think it works really well. There's no loading screens, there's no downtime. You just keep getting shines, and it feels good. Each shine feels like it has a purpose, unlike Mario Odyssey, where I feel like each moon kind of feels pointless after a certain extent because there's just so many of them. I
Mm-hmm.
think this one brings it back more into the original 3D Mario's, where each star feels meaningful. Like, you actually have to do something to get it. You don't just like follow a dog and then get a moon, or you just jump around and get a moon. You know what I mean? That's what kind of made me down on Odyssey a little more than other people. Like, I think Odyssey is still a great game, but there's
Mm-hmm.
just too many goddamn moons. And I think Bowser's Fury really fixed that issue while still keeping that open-ended level design that makes Odyssey so good. But it also has that type level design of Galaxy, where each island feels very focused on what it wants to do, and it has those specific challenges like Galaxy did. So it's honestly a great fusion of both of like all of what 3D Mario has done, and I would love to see this in a bigger scale. Honestly, it really impressed me, and I really didn't expect that either. It came off as really impressive. It didn't feel phoned in as just like an extra little thing they could add. And yeah, it honestly makes the game a little more worth it to buy if you've already played it before. I think $60 is still a little too much. Maybe it should have been 50. But Bowser's Fury was honestly a very quality thing. And obviously you have the giant kaiju fight. It's fun. It's nothing more than like a gimmick. Not gimmick, but it's kind of just like whatever. It's fun. But yeah, it's not like the main selling point. The main selling point is basically a 3D Mario. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's pretty much a fusion between 3D World and Mario Odyssey, and I feel like that this was a stepping stone for Nintendo to be like, hey, like maybe we should just like make this a whole game, and then that turned into Odyssey, or maybe they did it backwards or whatever. I'm not exactly sure how Bowser's Fury came to be, but just playing through it, just like exploring the mini islands, sort of trying to figure out how to get each sort of cat shine or whatever. I was having a good time, just like exploring, going through the world, doing the little challenges. One of the ones that I was stuck on for a while was you have to go into a boot and you have to get like the blue coins or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that one had me stuck on for a bit because if you mess up once, you're kind of fucked.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. Yeah.
So, but that one was definitely like challenging and really, really fun to do as I was like listening to like podcasts and like watching YouTube videos. And yeah, like just overall, I think that Bowser's Fury is a very good addition to it. And you could also set how much you want Bowser Jr. to sort of help you. So for example, for me, I had him be a little bit to see exactly what he would do within, the gameplay because, I don't want him to help none because then I wouldn't get any of that. And I don't want him to help him too much because I'm not that bad at Mario games, I think. So, he was there, he just like hitting enemies. And I think that having Bowser Jr., obviously story in Mario games doesn't fucking matter, but, having this story about like, can you like help me get my dad back? Cause I don't know what the hell he did, whatever. And the big fights when you're big giant cat Mario are obviously very fun. And it does take into account how big you are because you do feel a little slower, a little clunkier, but it is what it is when you are at that size. And like you said, with the sort of like level philosophy, you have like this sort of island. It's one big island, but like you only have like this small portion to play around with at first. And then once you get enough cat shines, you unlock the cat bell, and then you defeat Bowser, then you unlock another portion of the island. I really do like that sort of aspect and that aspect of the sort of gameplay, and I, am enjoying it so far. I'm only like an hour in, so.
Yeah, it's honestly is like a lot of fun, and again, I thought it would be like pretty not lame, but feel kind of thrown in because I know a lot of the
Mhm.
bonus things they add into these Switch ports aren't great. Like I think the Xenoblade one was really good since it's just acting like an epilogue to Xenoblade. But things like the funky mode or the one in Pikmin 3 with Olimar and Louie were kind of lame. I heard.
Mhm.
So it's kind of nice that Bowser's Fury does feel like a nice addition to 3D World. I don't know if it makes it worth it if you've already played 3D World pretty recently, But
Hmm.
if you haven't played 3D World recently or not at all, I think this is a great value. Honestly, I think I don't really mind paying $60 for both of these at this point. Like I thought it's pretty good value, and I'm pretty criticized of Nintendo. We'll talk about it during the direct about a certain game, but yeah, it's definitely I think it's worth the price. Honestly, I think it's really quality. It's super good. 3D World itself is really great, and yeah, I definitely think it was worth the money in my opinion.
Yeah, if you just want to play Bowser's Fury, I would wait till like a Black Friday sale because
Yeah.
that's pretty much the only time Nintendo discounts, quote unquote, discounts their games, which might be like $10, $20 at most. So yeah, I would definitely wait to either buy this used or wait for a sale or something like that because I'm sure that there are some people out there that bought this just for Bowser's Fury and they're probably already trying to sell it on eBay for a hopefully discounted price and not trying to sell it back for full price. You know what I'm saying? So. But yeah, definitely, Bowser's Fury is a nice addition, sort of like a middle ground between 3D World and Odyssey. And 3D World, I still think is a pretty fun 3D Mario game.
Yes, I still really enjoy 3D World, and it is really good, and you should buy it if you haven't. So yeah, next in my list, Final Fantasy 14. Obviously, they actually announced the next expansion. I didn't want to put it in the news because I'm like, Travis, there's not much to say, but I am just gonna say I'm very hyped for Endwalker. It's coming out fall, and I am very excited for it. Kind of sad they're not doing a new caster since obviously I love my mages. They're not doing a new one, which kind of sucks. There's another melee DPS, and there's enough of those, but that's what they're doing. They're doing that and a healer, which is nice because we need a new healer. But yeah. Besides that, I played the new patch that just came out. Well, not just came. It came out like 3 weeks ago at this point. But I thought it was really good. Blue Mage, which is a thing I've been kind of shitting on the whole time. They've been adding it into Final Fantasy. I love Blue Mage. It's one of my favorite jobs in Final Fantasy, and it kind of butchered it, I think, in 14 when they first introduced it about a year ago at this point, where it's a new job, it's a new class you can play as, but you can only play it in really limited content. It's called a limited job. And the reason why they did that is because Blue Mage could copy enemy abilities. So kind of like Kirby, like you get hit and you could like use that monster move, right? And it's supposed to be because like, oh, Blue Mage is broken because you get like insta kill moves and like a bunch of other broken like stuff. It ended up being very underwhelming when it first came out. A lot of the moves felt pretty balanced. I'm like, this could have just worked in a dungeon or a raid environment. I don't know why they felt the need to limit it and make it like not a real job. But then it starts to get better. I think a few months ago they released another update for it, which added more interesting spells to the Blue Mage, where you could do more teamwork with other Blue Mages. You could like actually be a tank or a healer Blue Mage as well as a DPS Blue Mage, which is pretty nice.
Hmm.
And then this update really made me love Blue Mage. They added a lot more interesting spells, a lot more crazy spell effects that are like very overpowered and broken, which actually justified why it should be a limited job. And it also added a move called like something instinct, base instincts, I think, which makes it so you could go into any dungeon by yourself and get like a 100% boost on all your stats, and you could just like steamroll through like everything, and it feels great. This is what I wanted when they said Blue Mage is gonna be this broken, overpowered thing that can't be in other like groups of people. Like I get it now, and I think Square did a really good job finally sort of getting the identity of Blue Mage right, especially one that's supposed to be like overpowered and not in like a team setting. No, obviously I would have liked it if it was still a proper job since I really like Blue Mage. Like Red Mage and Blue Mage are some of my favorite jobs in Final Fantasy. So it still kind of sucks I can't use it in regular content, but now that it's actually fun to use, I've been having a great time with it. I don't really mind. I think it's a fun distraction. It gets me to do things, and I've been highly enjoying it. There was at least a second part of like sort of like a relic weapon thing, which is like you could like each expansion has like a relic weapon you could like upgrade throughout the expansion, and they released like sort of like the second part of it, and they released sort of like a new raid, and I thought it was really well done. Usually raid or I guess alliance raid, there's 24 players and it's split into 8 parties, and obviously those 8 parties need like 5 DPS, 2 healers, and like 2 tanks, I believe. I forget.
Hmm.
But in this one, it could go in with any sort of job combination, so you could be like all 8 DPS, and the way that works is in that dungeon you could have like different, they call them like loss abilities, I believe, and so as a DPS you could just be a tank or a healer, and you could lead to like funny things because like, oh, I'm like a ninja and I could heal everyone, like it's weird. But I think it does a good job. I think it brings nice variety. The queue times are very short since I don't need to wait for tanks or healers since there's not as many of them as DPS, so that's nice. And overall, I thought the fights were just really good. They were very creative. I started to feel like a lot of the raids and dungeons in 14 were not getting stagnant, but kind of felt like they were repeating a lot of the same mechanics like other bosses use in other past raids and dungeons. So it's nice to see them add some pretty unique mechanics into this, and it was a very enjoyable raid, and I really liked it. So next, 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. So you're probably gonna be like, what the hell is this? So this was actually on Game of the Year for Best Narrative, actually. And I heard nothing but good things about this game. A lot of people said this game was super good. The narrative was really good. It's a shame it got like overlooked by a lot of people. And I played it, and yeah, it's really good. So basically, it's kind of like a visual novel, sort of. I don't want to call it that since you could like move around. I kind of been saying it's kind of more like a Telltale game where you can like walk around and talk to people, but your decisions don't really matter, like a Telltale game. But you don't you don't really make decisions or anything. You kind of just walk and talk to people. But the narrative is again very good. It does a thing where everything is out of order. So think of it like Pulp Fiction, where the whole movie is kind of out of order and you gotta like sort of piece it together by yourself. It makes sense in context of the story. It's not like just like that. Anime and amnesia stories. Yeah, it's live amnesia going around. But yeah, it's very mecha. Well, sort of. It's more sci-fi more than anything. I was more hooked because like, oh, it's like a mecha thing, right? I like mecha, but it is a lot more of a like a sci-fi thing where there's like a bunch of things going on. Each character has their own storyline going on. Obviously there's 13 different characters you can play as, and each one of them has their storyline interconnected with each other. No one feels really left out. It honestly feels like a better version of Octopath Traveler, where I really like Octopath, but I feel like all the characters didn't really mean much except the one you picked. Since the other ones just become kind of guinea pig or like backpacks for like your party, like just you can just use them. I think this game does a better job of having multiple different characters interconnect with each other throughout the storyline. There's also not really turn-based combat. It's more like Fire Emblem Tactics combat, where you could like you set your units down and you could just like attack. It's alright. Like the gameplay is definitely not the focus of this game, as there really isn't that many battles in the game. Like probably like a quarter of your playtime is gonna be actual battles. And yeah, they're okay. They're serviceable. They're fun, but they're nothing that's like to write home about. Just think about pretty basic Fire Emblem. I think the thing that really kills the combat is just that it's not really flashy. Like it's just like moving dots around. Like it's supposed to be like a radar you're watching and you're like moving around your units, but it doesn't really feel great compared to something like Fire Emblem where you can see them when they actually attack someone and like the animation plays. You don't really get any of that. I think because the game was actually supposed to be a Vita game at first, but they decided to scrap that because the Vita like died obviously so it's on PS4. So yeah, the battles are definitely not the major point of the game. They're fun, but not the major point. The major point is the narrative, and it's very good. Obviously, I can't really say much besides it's a very interesting sci-fi story that really gets you thinking. If anything, it feels like a puzzle game where how you had to like piece together what makes what happen, what events happen first, and the game even gives you a timeline of the whole game to show you where events take place in. And it's just a very interesting idea. And every time I see something in another character story, I'm like, wait, wasn't this character in this? But what were they doing there? So then you go back to that character and then play their part of the story. And it's just honestly a very interesting narrative. And it's just very, very like it's just really good. The mystery it has is really good. It basically has everything I like from an anime, being like obviously like mechs everywhere, a lot of mystery going on. Obviously, I love that stuff for like ReZero and Attack on Titan, where you don't fully know what's going on and there's like a world, like a bigger thing going on. So yeah, overall it's fantastic. I think it's a shame it didn't win Best Narrative and Last of Us 2 won that because I'm like this is actually really really good. It like there's a lot of layers in this and it's written by like one dude. Like it's really good. I definitely agree with a lot of people that it was kind of overshadowed by a lot of other things. But yeah, if you want to play it, you should. It goes on sale pretty frequently, so actually sold pretty well too. But yeah, it's really good. I'm really enjoying it. Almost done with it too. But yeah.
I was actually just looking at this. It's on sale at Best Buy for like 40 instead of 60. So I'm like, maybe.
And digital, it's like $30. I mean, it's long. It's like 30 hours. So just to keep it that.
Yeah,
but
I'll wait.
It's basically watching an anime. Like you basically are like just like listening to people talk most of the time, and it sounds kind of weird, but it's really good. Again, if you're into more visual novel type stuff, I think this will be definitely for you. The gameplay, I just put it on easy because I didn't really care. Gameplay is definitely not what you're playing this for. It's basically an anime. So yeah, very much recommend it if you're into like mecha or just sci-fi in general.
Yeah, 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, right?
Aegis Rim, yeah.
Okay.
It's all voice actor as well. It's dubbed and subbed. So if you want to play that, obviously I put dub because it's a lot of text. Yeah. And I think the dub is pretty good as well. So yeah. A lot of characters I recognize from other things. And next, I only played about 2 hours of this because I played at midnight. Persona 5 Strikers, obviously the kind of like the sequel to Persona 5, kind of, made by Koei Tecmo, which is it's technically a Warriors game, right? Like Age of Calamity just came out October, so think of it like that, but with Persona, but not really. because this is probably the most different Warriors game I've ever played, where the design mechanics are very much Persona instead of Warriors game. Since most Warriors games are set in a big open field, you attack a bunch of enemies. You probably know what I'm talking about if you've seen Fire Emblem Warriors or the other original Hyrule Warriors. All of them are basically like that with like different IP flair. And I think they do a good job with most of them. Obviously, I love Fire Emblem and Hyrule Warriors 1 and 2, and the Dragon Quest Warriors as well. Persona 5 takes it a step further, where this is just Persona with like an action RPG combat system instead, where Joker is able to switch his personas like usual, but like each persona could use their own spells like they could in the original game. It like freezes time, and then you're able to use their abilities. They have all the abilities you would expect from Persona. You could fuse personas, you could get personas. Like it works the same exact way as Persona 5, just in a Dynasty Warriors setting, and it does it really well. Like, there's not really open like maps really. Like the first map you play is a little open, but each one it sort of goes back into like a palace, which is basically a dungeon in Persona 5 terms, where you like, obviously you can just go through a dungeon. It's basically like that in this game as well. So the environments are a lot more claustrophobic. The battle arenas are a lot tinier, and each encounter is just like, you fight this group of enemies, and then the encounter is done, just like basically like a turn-based system where you're like, oh, you fight this random encounter, then it's done. It sort of works the same way, just in like a real-time battle system, and it works really well. Like the combat's very flashy. You do all the things you could do in other Warriors games, with your different combos. So if you played Hyrule Warriors, you probably know what to expect in terms of gameplay, and it basically works the same way here, just with Persona flair. And basically, like, it just feels like I'm playing a Persona game, basically. Like, there was, like, one combat encounter in the beginning just to get you hyped up. There's, like, an hour and a half of talking. I'm like, yes, this is Persona that I love. And, yeah, it just feels like Persona. It's fantastic. Like, everything, all the characters feel exactly how they are. There's a new thing going on that the Fan of Thieves have to do and stuff. And, obviously, I don't know much yet because I only played, like, 2 hours of it, and I want to play a lot more of it. But yeah, overall, I think Koei Tecmo, this is probably, like, I only played 2 hours of it. I'm like, this is right the best Warriors game, because it doesn't even feel like a Warriors game. It just feels like Persona 5 too. And I'm very hyped to keep playing it. I very like the new character, Sophia, I think. She's pretty cool. I think there's another new character that was in the trailers that I haven't really had much interaction with yet. But yeah, overall, it's fantastic. Really liking it. The game looks great on PS5 since I'm playing it on that. And yeah, also, by the way, I'm playing it early just because I pre-ordered it. Like, if you pre-ordered it, like the digital deluxe edition, you could play it 4 days. It's technically supposed to come out Tuesday, but I'm cool like that, and I wasted $10 to play it 4 days earlier because I really like it. So yeah, overall pretty good. I'll probably have more thoughts about it, obviously, by next podcast. Hopefully I can finish it by then. But yeah, very good so far.
All right, so let's get to my stuff real quick. So Attack on Titan, can't really talk about it without spoilers, but it's good. I mean, you got anything to say?
I actually didn't watch last week's. I watched the week before that, but I didn't watch last week's.
Yeah,
I'm gonna watch it when the new one
comes out. It's good. All right, so the way I know if Attack on Titan's hype is if it's trending on Twitter, and last 2 episodes have not trended on Twitter. So
yeah, I mean, you kind of need a cooldown, honestly, since the last arc was pretty big. So obviously you need a cooldown for characters to do stuff. So yeah.
Jujutsu Kaisen, I'm still like whatever on it. I just caught up on episode 18 or something. I think they just dropped another episode today. So, but yeah, it's still whatever to me so far. I'm not entirely sure what the hype behind the show is yet. I mean, I definitely see what like the pull-in is within like the first like couple of episodes. Like I'm like, oh, okay, like this is interesting, which is why I'm still watching it. But when people are like, saying like Jujutsu Kaisen is like the best, modern anime or whatever, I'm like, all right, you need to like slow down a little bit, But yeah, I mean, I'm still enjoying it. I'm just like not 100% hyped, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Right. My Hero Academia and My Hero Vigilante manga. I don't really need to talk about vigilantes. It's, the same thing I've been saying for over the past couple of episodes. It's vigilantes and you follow their story. There's funny moments, there's some action bits. It's pretty much a My Hero spinoff and what you would expect from it. The My Hero main manga, however, I read volume 20, which pretty much covered most of the last episodes or 2 of the latest season. And now I'm on volume 21, which is getting into stuff that hasn't been animated yet. And it is interesting. I'm not done with the volume 21. I've been pretty much reading it when I would go to bed or whenever I can, because I'm kind of tired nowadays. But yeah, it is definitely very interesting. We're getting to know Hawks more as a character, and yeah, I'm liking it. I have pretty much all of the volumes that are currently out, so I definitely have a lot to go through. I finished Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. It was like 4 to 5 episodes I needed to finish. And yeah, it was really goddamn good. I mean, they wrapped up the story as best as they could. And obviously like this version of Full Metal Alchemist takes direct story elements from the manga, and it does it really, really well. And I really did enjoy it. I can see why this is a lot of people's sort of like 10 out of 10 anime, and why people really love it so much, because it does a really good job with its characters, its world, and especially wrapping up the story within like the last like 15 episodes, like Damien said, I think last episode or whatever. But yeah. Definitely super duper good, and I'm very happy that I watched it. And okay, so y'all know me when it comes to romance comedies. I love that shit. So randomly last week I was like, fuck it, let me go and watch this Teasing Master Takagi-san, Takagi-san. So this is a series that I forget who said it in like a YouTube video. I think it was in a Anime Man video, where he was like ranking, I think it was, what's it called, romance animes with like other YouTubers, and he might have mentioned it in that video, or it might have been on Trash Taste or whatever. I forget exactly where I heard about this show, but I added it to my Crunchyroll queue, and then randomly, like after like doing some homework, I was like, fuck it, let me go and start this, and I instantly like really fell in love with it. So pretty much what this show is that it's two middle schoolers, Tagaki-san and Nishikata or Nishikan. Fuck man, I'm so bad with names. But anyways, she teases him like every fucking day at school, and it is so funny and hilarious. Nishikata, okay, that is the guy's name. So because he is a middle school boy, he doesn't know like what the fuck he's doing, or like what she's like, sort of like implying. So like it's very obvious that like she likes him, and like that is made like very clear within like the first episode, but she doesn't like like outright say, like she likes to obviously like tease him and like sort of play around with that. And Nishigata, he's just a fucking dummy, and he's just trying to sort of like pull one over on her, sort of like get back at her for like teasing him so much. And that's pretty much what the entire show is. So each episode has like multiple scenarios. It's very much episodic, is I believe is the right word for it. So like each episode has like maybe like 3, 4, maybe even like 5 different like scenarios that like they go through, and like it's them at the mall or them at the beach or whatever the case is. Most of the time it does take place at school, so you have things like gym class and like whatever else sort of thing that they're able to do. It's a slice of life romance comedy. So I watched all of season 1 twice. If you could believe that. Yeah, I watched it twice. So I watched it the first time, and I was like, all right, fuck, I want to watch season 2. Season 2 is locked behind Netflix, so I was like, all right, I guess I'm going on Netflix now, because season 1's on Crunchyroll, and then if you want to watch the English dub of season 1, it's on Funimation. This show has a lot of sort of like, I guess, streaming licensing. So with season 2, I think they actually changed the dub voice cast or whatever. I forget what it was, but like the dub's different. But I watched both seasons subbed, because that's just how I am. So season 2, they pretty much build upon the Tagaki-san and Nishikata relationship and really dive into that. And you really do get to see, them sort of like play around with, their relationship and exactly who they are. And the finale of season 2 is non-canon to the manga. I don't think the manga did that, just to like not spoil anything. But yeah, the anime does take it in a different direction, and people really do want a season 3 to go and see exactly where they're going to take that ending forward. But the likelihood of a season 3 is sort of up in the air. The season 2 ended summer of 2019, so it's been over a year. But I very much want a season 3, because this show is fucking great and I love it. And I might buy the manga soon, depending on financial situations and all of that other stuff. But yeah, Teasing Master Tagaki-san, it is really funny, really, really cute. So the reason why I rewatched season 1 was because after I watched season 2, which I think is a 10 out of 10, by the way. So after I watched season 2, I was like, let me rewatch season 1. And I rewatched season 1, and like, that's also a 10 out of 10. And I was like, what the hell? Because I thought that... Because I obviously think that like season 2 is better than season 1, but like season 2, obviously the reason why I think season 2 is better is because it just builds upon their already existing relationship and really does sort of dive into that. And also one thing I forgot to mention is that there's like these three like girl characters that sort of like follow Nishikata and Tagaki-san and sort of see if they're actually going out or not, because they don't actually like become boyfriend girlfriend like ever within the series. But you sort of just see like what their like shenanigans and antics are, and within season 1 like their sort of antics aren't directly tied to them, but within season 2 it very much like connects to Nishikata and Tagaki-san, and it is very cute and very funny, and I just love the show. So when I rewatched season 1, which was like I finished it yesterday, episode 11 was like by far the reason why I was like, this show's like 10 out of 10, because when you watch both seasons back to back, it is kind of hard to sort of tell like where does the season end sort of thing, because both shows look stylistically the same and they both feel the same, which is good when you move from season to season, especially within a sort of like romance slice of life comedy. And yeah, I just had to rewatch season 1 to make sure that like I knew exactly where it ended and where it started and et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, this is a series that I think doesn't get talked about a lot, and I think recently it won like best shonen or whatever from like a award thing when I looked on Wikipedia. But yeah, and it is still releasing. The manga is still releasing. This is still going, which is kind of crazy to me, because I don't know. I feel like that this is something that would have like a definitive end, because they are in middle school and there's only so much you could do with like middle school characters. But they're still going with it. So yeah, I just fucking love this shit. The OVA, just real quick, because I know I've been talking about this shit for a long time. So the OVA works like a normal like anime episode, where like instead of like the episodic format that I talked about, the OVA is just a full like 25-minute, just like one scenario where they're at the water park or whatever, and it's whatever. It's funny to see them interact again and whatever, but I think it takes place between somewhere in season 1 or between the seasons or whatever. But yeah, Teasing Master Tagaki-san is a new favorite of mine, if you cannot tell. And if you want to see other stuff that I like on my anime list, anilist.co/user/tvsonic. All right, so we got that out of the way. Let's talk about the Nintendo Direct. Let's start with the what's it called? The new Smash character reveal. So what are your thoughts on it as the resident Xenoblade Chronicles 2 fan?
I love it. I honestly think they did a good job not making it Rex, since Rex, if you don't know, Rex is the one that actually uses like Pyra's sword and like they fight together. So yeah, I think making it just Pyra and Mithra is like a way smarter idea. Because I think they just stand out more than Rex. I mean, you look at Rex, he's just an anime boy. I know like Pyra and Mithra are just waifus, I get it, but like whatever. Like they I think they look sick. Like they look so good in Smash. Like you look at Shulk. Shulk looks so crusty compared to them now. Like, it's pretty crazy. And obviously I'm hyped for it. I thought the trailer was great. Being able to play as Pyra and Mithra, it looks like they're gonna have some kind of switching mechanic, probably like Zelda, like I guess OG Zelda, where she was able to change into Sheik. Probably not as drastic, since they are kind of the same character, Pyra and Mithra. They kind of fight the same, so it's probably gonna be just like their B moves are gonna change. But yeah, it looks great. The stage looks amazing as you're going throughout the world of Xenoblade. You see all the other titans in the background floating around. The music is gonna be fantastic. And yeah, overall, I'm just hyped. I actually this was one of the few Smash trailers that kind of debated me, because I was like, for a second, I thought like, oh shit, is this like Xenoblade 2 DLC? Then I'm like, oh no, wait, hold on, this is a Smash announcement. So I'm like, oh shit. So yeah, I'm personally am very excited for Pyra and Mithra, and I keep getting these W's. Sephiroth and Pyra and Mithra, hell yeah, dude. So I don't know, what are your thoughts as someone that doesn't care?
Yeah, someone who isn't exactly tied directly with like Xenoblade Chronicles. I thought that it was, for one, like a very cool like reveal trailer. I think that the way that they did it was very, very nice and very well done. And to anyone that was paying attention, they were on FD before she revealed the whole thing.
Yeah, she was.
Which I was not paying attention, but watching the Hungry Box reaction video, which I will talk about in just a second, because Hungry Box said some stuff in like a analysis video or like in his reaction about I forget exactly what it was because I didn't watch the video that he took down or whatever. But there was like a small little controversy with that. With he is a prominent figure within the Smash scene, and like the jokes and things that he was saying was obviously not cool. He probably should have said that. But Hungrybox is definitely a figure within the Smash community that is pretty controversial if you look deep enough within his character and things that he has done within the past. But yeah, I think that overall, like Pyra and Mithra, I think people who are upset about it just because these are waifu big tit characters or whatever, I think that they need to chill out, in my opinion, and just it's a video game, guys. We've had Bayonetta. Like her clothes are her hair, right? Like I don't know. And people bringing up the fact that like a hentai artist designed these characters, I think is sort of, I think that that's kind of like out of pocket. Like that's not really like necessary to really bring up because that doesn't really directly correlate with like them as characters and them being in the game. I mean, they fit in because they're Xenoblade Chronicles 2 characters and they're another sort of like female representation for the cast, and if Sakurai wanted them in, they got in, and obviously they did. So,
I mean, Sakurai said he wants to add a Xenoblade 2. Like he probably wants to add Rex in the beginning because during the first DLC pass, he's like, I want to add Rex in, but I didn't. Here's a me costume. So it kind of makes sense that Pyramithra or like some Xenoblade 2 rep would be in this game anyway. I mean, I kind of, all right, when Xenoblade 2 first came out, when I saw Pyra's design, I'm like, no way. she straight up looks like a hentai protagonist. And, I still kind of feel that way. They probably could, like, make her not look as much as that, but obviously when you play the game, I mean, it doesn't really explain why she's like that. But, obviously her character is different than what she looks like and stuff, obviously. But, I do agree that it probably could line. I think Mithra looks, I mean, they're using, like, covered Mithra, which they used for her spirit in Smash Ultimate. Instead of having leggings, she didn't have any of those, but I think she looks better with it anyway. They actually covered up Pyra a little bit too, like she has leggings as well, because it's like Smash is for good boys and girls, and there's a lot of skin. But yeah, I agree. Like Pyra Mithra's design is a little much. But I still like their characters a lot, and obviously I love Xenoblade 2, and I'm happy they're in here like a lot. But I could get where people are coming from with that sort of complaint. Because, yeah, I agree. Even when the game first came out, I'm like, that's a little much. But, yeah, overall, I still, it's also great to have more female representation since Min Min was really the only one. Like, I don't really count female Byleth because, it's just Byleth is just like both of them. So I don't know if I count her. But, yeah, Min Min and Pyramith are pretty cool to have, like, as female representation in the DLCs. And yeah, overall, I'm very excited.
Yeah, I just think that the Smash community and just like toxicity and like big communities is becoming like more prevalent. I've noticed on Twitter. I don't know. It like every single time like something's like trending on like something that just happened. Like Pyra and Mithra were trending because people were having a sort of like discussion of whether or not I forget exactly what the major complaint was. I would have to look it up, but they were just complaining that they were in the game, etc., etc. And I'm just like, well, if they wanted a Xenoblade Chronicles 2 representative, and this is what Sakurai picked, and Sakurai got the okay, well, I don't know what to say, yeah, it is what it is at this point. I'm not upset, but I'm also like not exactly hyped for it like Damien is. It's just another Smash representative for me, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, if we were gonna get any like sort of like first party type character, I would rather get them than a Pokemon, because people kept saying I want to like Gen 8 Pokemon. I'm like, no. Honestly, I think Pokemon are like the most anti-hype characters. I just do not care. Like at least with Fire Emblem, like I mean, and this is coming from someone that really likes Pokemon, obviously, as I talked about a lot. It's just I don't know, man. Like Pokemon just feel like they have no personality, and I just don't care. I know you can say that about the Fire Emblem protagonist too. Like I would rather have Edelgard than Byleth, because Byleth is just boring protagonist. I think it would have been cool if we got Klaus, Dimitri, and Edelgard as like a Pokemon trainer type deal. But whatever, it's fine. And I think Pyra and Mithra are a great representation for Xenoblade 2, since, Xenoblade 2 is a very different game from the first game, so I think it's nice to have them in there as well. So, obviously you're not going to like every character. We always say this whenever there's a Smash character. You're not going to like every character. Like, it's not our fault that a lot of characters use swords, alright? I mean, I love sword characters, so I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
I love JRPGs, so again, I'm okay with this. But I know a lot of people aren't, and, they're going to complain, and, I'm just used to it at this point, so it is what it is,
Yeah, it is what it is. Next thing, we'll save Skyward Sword for a little bit later.
Yeah, we can say Skyward Sword. I mean, Monster Hunter Rise, they talked about. It was a new trailer. I don't really have much else to say about it besides it looks cool and I'm going to buy it. Again, it is kind of important, so there's going to be a pretty big release for the Switch, and it's going to be like, really soon. Since the Switch really only has like Mario 3D World and Bravely Default coming February, and then this game, and then you gotta wait a bit until anything else comes out. Since that's kind of the major concern a lot of people are having is that this direct was supposed to show what's coming out the first half of 2021, but there really wasn't a lot.
Yeah.
Besides a lot of games that weren't that interesting to a lot of people. Obviously, the next game that I think we could actually talk about is Mario Golf Super Rush. That's coming out June 25th, 2021. And this looks really good. I do like the Mario sports games quite a bit. I didn't get Mario Aces or whatever it was called.
It's okay. It's all right. You can skip that one.
Yeah, the story mode was pretty cool, I heard, but like that's about it. This one looks pretty good. It's like you also have the story mode as well, but you also have like wacky golf where you have like power ups and you're going all mental and stuff. Like it looks great. I'm still waiting for Mario Hoops 3 on 3 2. Where's that? I loved that game when I was a kid. Where is it? But yeah, this game looks good. I don't think there's been a Mario Golf game in quite a while either, so this is actually nice to see it back. Because I don't know when was the last Mario Golf game. Was it GameCube? I don't even know.
Yeah, I feel like it was GameCube because I don't think there was one on the Wii or the Wii U. I'm gonna do a quick research, but I'm pretty sure there has not been a Mario Golf game.
Yeah, GameCube. Yeah.
Yeah, since the GameCube. Yeah, Yep. So there was obviously Mario Golf on the 64. Then there was GameCube, and then I guess 3DS. Okay, then that was it.
Yeah, because I guess the only other one is like I know people wanted Strikers to come back. Because I think that's also hasn't been a thing since Wii.
Yeah, Wii.
Yeah, Wii. So yeah, I guess it was golf's turn to come back. I think tennis is definitely the most like saturated one, so I'm glad that we got tennis out of the way and we're doing a different sports game. But yeah, it looks really good. I know people are saying like, oh, this was the best game of the direct. I don't know if I agree with that, but it definitely does look good, and I'll probably pick it up if it's like good enough. For $60 probably not, but I'll probably pick it up at some point. I like a good Mario sports game, so.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing that really had me interested with this Mario Golf game was the wacky mode with like the power ups and them like running down and everyone goes at once. I think that could be like really funny to sort of. Yeah, but I don't think there's online, so that's gonna be really fucking disappointing.
That's dumb.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, overall, it looks like Mario Golf on the Switch, and that extra little mode looks very fun to play if it had online, but. Yeah, unfortunately, it does not. That game's supposed to come out June 25th, then Monster Hunter March 26th, and then Pyra and Mithra sometime in March. But yeah, overall, Mario Golf Super Rush, it looks interesting, but I'm not exactly sure how well it's going to do, especially with the current state of the world, and no online as of right now, I believe. So
that's really dumb, because Nintendo continues to be dumb. All right, well, obviously, we could both talk about No More Heroes 3. Coming out August 27th, 2021. And yeah, I mean, it looks good. It looked a little crusty though. I don't know if that was like the bit rate, because it kind of didn't look like the issue with the game. It kind of looked more bit ratey of an issue, because like there was a lot of things going on. But who knows? I'm pretty sure it's gonna be 720p, obviously, because the Switch again is very very weak. But yeah, I'm very excited for it. As someone that played the first two No More Heroes games very recently, I am pretty excited for this. I'm hoping they'll drop the ball with the third one here. It looks like it's going more back towards No More Heroes 1, where you have to like grind with the odd jobs and then pay for your membership thingy and then fight the other alien assassin guy. So it looks like it's going more like that. But yeah, it looks really good. I don't know, what are your thoughts about No More Heroes 3 here?
I think Suda51 is really playing into the whole fucking wacky ass concepts that he has in his mind, because for one, Travis Touchdown was not fighting aliens, which I didn't know until this trailer.
Yeah.
I think they were alluding to it before, but like with this trailer, it's like confirmed that now he's like fighting aliens and like doing a bunch of crazy shit. And then the other thing, I think he revealed on Twitter that like Travis has like a twin evil brother or some shit. I'm like, what the fuck, bro? Like, no way you just said that. Like, what the fuck? But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it just because My name's Travis, so Travis Touchdown. He's a pretty fucking cool character. And the game itself, it looks like No More Heroes again, but on the Switch and probably improved and whatever other thingy mabobbers that Suda51 decided to put in. But yeah, I am excited for it. Despite not even finishing No More Heroes 1 or even touching No More Heroes 2, I will probably buy this and probably just jump into it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty excited for it. Again, as someone that just recently played the games on Switch. I also have the not as important, like the spin-off one, Travis Strikes Again. I'll probably play that as well.
Hmm.
And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully it does well. I think it will, because the No More Heroes 1 and 2 did actually really well when they re-released them on Switch. But I guess we're going to have to wait and see when it comes out.
All right. I guess I'll quickly talk about Ninja Gaiden Master Collection. I think
Okay.
that this was something that a lot of people wanted for a really, really long time. Just a sort of like remastering of the Ninja Gaiden sort of modern trilogy. This collection is supposed to come out on June 10th later this year. And yeah, I'm kind of excited for it because I've never played any of these games before. I've always had interest in playing the third one on the Wii U because, that was around the time when the Wii U had like no games, so that one was sort of like one of the options if I wanted to buy it and play it for that console. But obviously that sort of never came to be because, I just left the Wii U in the dust. But now this Ninja Gaiden Master Collection, I can now play that. And I believe this is coming to multi-platform as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for that too. I actually never played the newer Ninja Gaidens. Obviously, like the I forgot what you call it. The ones on the Xbox and stuff. I
Yeah,
didn't
from
play
Team
those.
Ninja.
Yeah, from
Hmm.
Team Ninja. And I know they said they had no interest in making a Ninja Gaiden 4 or Neo 3. They said they want to do something else, so that's, kind of disappointing for people that really wanted a new Ninja Gaiden game. And it's probably doubly hurted that people wanted Ryu Hayabusa in Smash, and he's like, I have this Master Collection instead. It's like, okay. But yeah, I'll probably end up getting it, because I know the games are like very, very hard, but I always heard they were really good. The third one I heard is a little okay. Like it's not as good as the first two, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. I probably won't get it on Switch. I'll probably get it on like PS4 or something, or
Yeah.
PS5.
Hmm.
But definitely I'm kind of looking forward to that, honestly, since I feel like it's kind of a series I neglected in the past.
Yeah.
Um, Also, I kind of want to talk about Project Triangle Strategy
Hmm.
because the name is really dumb. Um, but the game looks great. So this is by the same people that made Bravely Default and Octopath Traveler. Hopefully this isn't the goddamn name because Octopath Traveler was also the working name. But at least Octopath Traveler kind of sounded cool. This is like Triangle Strategy. Hopefully that's not the name. But
Hmm.
there's actually a demo and I wanted to play it before the podcast, but I didn't really have time to do it. So I'll probably talk about it next podcast. But
Hmm.
it them doing basically a Fire Emblem slash Final Fantasy Tactics, but in their like own way, looks really good. And I really hope that their whole branching storyline thing works out in the end, because I think Fire Emblem Three Houses did that really well. Obviously, you didn't make decisions, but you kind of make that decision in the first, like the first thing you do is like pick your house, and that determines what route you do. And I think it worked out really well. I think they were able to really make some really good stories in Fire Emblem Three Houses, which, depending on what house you pick. So I'm hoping this game sort of does that, but more in a traditional way where you pick decisions and kind of branches off from there. Because obviously we've seen many games promise this, and they usually end up, not succeeding in this. And I'm hoping
Hmm.
this game could do the opposite. Since I honestly think this team's biggest issue, the people who make the Bravely Default games and the Octopath Traveler in this game, is their storytelling and characters. They're like super super bland. They have everything else super down. The gameplay is always really good. The graphics always look really pretty and nice, and a nice style to them. The music is always fantastic. It's just like the only thing that's really lacking is just the story and characters, which honestly is like half of an RPG. So you should really fix that. It's kind of why I was never like I love Bravely Default and Octopath, but I feel like there's just the characters and story, man. Like they always come off as a little bland and not that interesting compared to other RPGs. So I'm really hoping this game fixes it, even with Bravely Default 2. I also hope it sort of fixes that story slash character problem. But yeah, I'm still looking forward to it since again I really like Bravely Default 1 and Octopath Traveler. So hopefully this is good. I'll play the demo. I heard good things about it already. Just the name is dumb, and I hope they fix that. So,
Yeah, I got no comment on this game.
it does look. A lot of people were excited for it more than I thought. It had a lot of votes in the games subreddit. So that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, bro, them RPG boys got in there.
Hell yeah.
Let me see. I guess we could talk about. I guess Splatoon 3. Fuck it. Let's just talk about Splatoon 3 real quick.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I think this one was the most surprising announcement for me personally, not just because it was at the end, but because I didn't think that they were going to do a Splatoon 3 on the same console that they launched Splatoon 2 on. But hey, Nintendo thinks that they have enough new ideas to warrant a sequel to Splatoon 2, which is nice, and I guess a much better option than just releasing like a big update patch for them. And I guess that's just Nintendo's philosophy. If they're gonna update the game so much, they might as well just make it a whole new game. And the premise for this one, it looks like what's that movie? Goddamn Mad Max or what? Yeah, it looks like really much like desert survival sort of thing. I don't know what the hell happened to the Eiffel
probably
Tower.
Because in the final Splatfest, it was like you could pick like Order or Chaos, and Chaos won. So I'm guessing like Chaos was like ended up with that. I mean, that's super cool if that's actually the case, that Chaos ended up really, because it did influence the second game too, where the second game's plot was dependent on who was best girl, and then like they that ended up being important to the plot for the second game. So I thought that was really neat how this development team for Splatoon like takes into consideration the final Splatfest actually matters to impact the future of the next game. And again, it's just interesting to see Splatoon 3 like. So it's not even early. It's gonna be 5 years after Splatoon 2 came out when this game comes out, which is crazy. And I think it shows that Nintendo really wants to stick with the Switch if they're doing this. I don't think Nintendo really wants to switch from the Switch anytime soon, because 2022 is probably when we would have expected like maybe a Switch 2 or something, like another console at this point. But yeah, it looks like they're in for the long haul, especially again for a game like Splatoon. It's supposed to last for a while. It's supposed to last at least like 2-something years of like live content updates. So yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see how that works out. And obviously, I love Splatoon 2. I kind of hated Splatoon 1 when it first came out, because I'm like, this is what you're releasing for the Wii U, like really. But I ended up really enjoying it, and then Splatoon 2 was even better. So I'm really looking forward to Splatoon 3. Kind of a bummer it's coming out 2022 though. I think that's kind of lame, but that is what it is there.
Yeah, it's definitely something that I didn't expect, but I'm very glad that it is happening, because I think that when Splatoon 2 came out, like I had a lot of fun with it, but I quickly got burnt out because I guess I was just grinding rank too much, and I was just like, these fucking kids, man, I can't play with these teammates, so I just quit. And recently me and Kobe tried to play again because he didn't get his Switch at launch or like around when Splatoon 2 came out, so we never got to play like multiplayer together. And we played, but I sucked ass, I'm gonna be honest. I've obviously not played since 2017, so playing it a couple months ago back in like 2020 was definitely not a good time. So hopefully, when this game comes out, everyone's probably going to be on like a somewhat even playing field, trying to learn the new maps, the new weapons, all that stuff, because, trying to get into a lobby and, all of these nerds know everything and I forgot stuff. It's just really annoying. But yeah, I'm very excited for Splatoon 3 just because I really did like the online component. And, these story bits are, in my opinion, whatever, but I still enjoyed, going through that stuff as like a sort of mini tutorial to replay the game.
And yeah, it's kind of what I liked about Octo Expansion, since it kind of really fleshed out the single player, and it was like actually really, really fun, like, and hard. It was very hard. Octo Expansion was fantastic, and I hope the single player is as good as Octo Expansion was. And I also hope they bring back Salmon Run, because I love Salmon Run, which is basically just the horde mode for Splatoon. I hope they bring that back as well, because those two are like some of my favorite elements of Splatoon. Obviously the multiplayer is as well, like the main game, but those two elements are super good, and they could get really creative with that type of stuff. But yeah, really looking forward to Splatoon 3. And I guess they're releasing Age of Calamity DLC, but we kind of knew that. But at least everyone can know that it made so much money. Like, of course they're gonna make DLC. There was 2 characters that you just didn't get to play as. That I'm like, that they're DLC characters, and they're DLC characters. Like, it was pretty obvious. But I don't have much to say. Age of Calamity is fantastic. The story, not really, but everything else is fantastic. And I'll probably buy the expansion because I really like the game. But there's not much else to go off on besides the Wave 1 is coming out in June, which is actually supposed to add the new characters, and then Wave 2 more new characters, and that's coming out in November. So, and it wouldn't surprise me to honestly do more, since Hyrule Warriors 1 added a shit ton of DLC, so it wouldn't surprise me they added more than that. So
okay. I kind of want to leave Skyward Sword for last, so there's Animal Crossing Mario stuff, I guess. It's going to come out February 25th, which is very soon to anyone still playing Animal Crossing.
Yeah, the Warp Pipe looks cool, at least.
Yeah, all of the items and stuff, like, it obviously, like, looks super cool, but I don't know what will bring me back in Animal Crossing. Probably nothing, unfortunately. But do you have thoughts on this?
Just yeah, I kind of feel like your sentiment here. Like, it has to be a pretty big change in Animal Crossing to make me care. Like an actual content update, not just like here's like an event plus items.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people feel that way now. Like we need something more to bring you back in,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they will. It wouldn't surprise me if we get paid DLC or just free DLC. Like I know New Leaf added the Amiibo Festival, and that was a pretty big update. So I'm hoping New Leaf has that as well. But I guess we're gonna have to see because I mean it made a bunch of money Animal Crossing, so it wouldn't surprise
Yeah.
me to actually do paid DLC to make even more money. And hopefully it adds more content. So
Yeah, hopefully New Horizons has a big DLC sort of update or whatever.
yeah.
But is there anything else you want to on here that I listed that you want to briefly talk about, or?
No, I honestly think the only thing I really, really want to talk about is Skyward Sword.
All right, fuck it. Let's get into Skyward Sword. All right, so, so, the what's his name? Him being on screen, I was like,
Yeah,
all
Zelda
right,
man. Yeah.
yep, Zelda Man. It's either gonna be Breath of the Wild 2 or some remastered collection or something. I don't know what it was, and then it was Skyward Sword, and I was like, fuck. And I was very, very surprised when I went on Twitter to see how many people I knew that were actually very excited for Skyward Sword HD. And I guess, I just don't know my friends as well as I thought I do. But, there's a lot of people that I know and that I'm friends with are actually big fans of Skyward Sword. Me personally, it was my first 3D Zelda game. So I had no idea what I was doing. There was a lot of backtracking. There was a lot of, stuff that I was just, not that big of a fan of. And obviously, the motion controls I thought was cool at first, but the later I got into the game, it was just really frustrating because sometimes I was like, man, I'm trying to swing my sword here and this shit's not working. It's the goddamn Wii Motion Plus, but I'm not gonna say I fully hate Skyward Sword, but if I had to choose one to sort of remaster, this is definitely not one of the ones, or sort
Right.
of HD bump.
Actually, like Skyward Sword and Twilight Princess are the only two 3D Zelda games I haven't played yet. But
Hmm.
obviously, I actually watched Chugga Conway's Let's Play of Skyward Sword, and at first I'm like, oh, I don't know why people hate this game. Like the first half of the game is pretty good, and then the second half of the game is like doing the same dungeons again, and I just didn't finish watching that Let's Play because I wasn't even playing the game, but I just felt like the repetition of just watching it. I'm like, I don't even want to look at this anymore. So I can definitely see why people don't like the game. I can also see why people like the game as well. Like I think the game looks nice for a Wii game. It's very vibrant, and it's a nice mix of Wind Waker and Twilight Princess in terms of its style. But
Hmm.
I think just like having this standalone being one of the weaker 3D Zelda games is pretty like weird. Like I was highly expecting like when they were showing Skyward Sword HD, I'm like, oh, all right, so they're gonna bundle this with Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD, right, and make like an All Stars pack for Zelda, right? And then nope, it's just Skyward Sword HD for $60. I'm like, you are crazy. Like not even the original game was $60. It was $50. It was only 60
Yep.
if you needed a Wii Motion Plus because you needed that for the game. But the game
I think it
itself
was
was only
actually
50.
I think it was actually more. I mean, like, depending on which bundle. So, like, I got the Wii Motion Plus controller bundle, so it was
Yeah.
obviously more than 60. But obviously, like, if you don't have the Wii Motion Plus attachment, you probably had to buy that edition with the Skyward Sword game. So, like, either way, you were paying more than 50 at launch, unless you already had the Wii Motion Plus stuff already. But yeah, I'll let you continue on with the $60 rant.
Yeah, it's just like it's crazy that $60 for for like a port that doesn't even look much better than the original game. Like it looks alright. Like obviously the resolution is probably bumped up and like it looks a little cleaner. And obviously they fixed the motion control. Like if you don't want to use the Joy Cons, you could use the right stick, which is kind of cool. But like, is that worth $60? Of course not. Like, it's actually insane they're charging $60 for this. Again, I was just talking about Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. Like, people don't want to pay $60 for that, and that comes with actual new content that's good. Like, Skyward Sword comes with no new content. It's 10 years old, and they're charging $60 for it. Minimum, this should be $30, I think. Even less than that. On the Wii U, it's like $20, but
Hmm.
like I know for Nintendo, it's always gonna be higher. Like, I think $30 should have been like what its price actually should be just by itself, but charging $60 for this game is absolutely insane. Like when I went to the eShop just to check, I was like, you cannot be serious. It's like this is the only thing about the Direct that actually pissed me off because like you like really $60 for Skyward Sword. But yeah, That's sort of my thoughts on that, because it just seems like just so dumb. They should have bundled this with Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. Like, you already had it, like, you might as well just put it in there as well. Just having Skyward Sword by itself for $60 seems like it's just such a ripoff, you know?
Yeah, I definitely see where people are coming from with the whole, like $60 thing. But like, I'm not surprised because it's fucking Nintendo we're talking about here. They're always, our official seal of quality, and obviously it's on their console and it's their game, so they could price it whatever the hell they want. So I can see the frustration, but like, I'm not even gonna like sort of like, I guess, have those emotions because I'm like, it's fucking Nintendo. I'm not surprised. But yeah, the game right now is $20 on the eShop, I believe, on the Wii U. So like, them re-releasing it on the Switch for I don't think they added anything either, like you said, other than, you could use the Switch Joy-Cons and all of that stuff, but that shouldn't warrant you bumping it back up to full game price, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I guess it might be a fault of, like, even with, what's it called, the other Zelda remake that they did, A Link Between Worlds, Link's Awakening. Yes, I'm so dumb. Link's Awakening, that game, they actually fully redid it. So like, there was sort of reason to warrant that $60 price, despite the game being as old as it was, and the improvements that they made don't warrant that $60 price, whatever the case is with whoever's argument their opinion is. Skyward Sword HD, $60, it's kind of crazy. And obviously this is a case where people vote with your wallet. I'm sure that there's going to be a handful of people that are complaining about this that are still going to buy it, just like what they did with Pokemon Sword and Shield. They were like, bro, they're using the same animations from the 3DS game, etc., etc. They're so lazy. Look at this tree looks like shit. And then they bought it anyway. So like, if you're gonna sort of like complain and sort of like cause a storm on like social media or whatever, or even in like your friend group, like, you might as well like vote with your wallet and actually not buy it. So
yeah, I mean, that's what I'm gonna do. Like, I still I still want to play Skyward Sword, but at this point I'd rather just buy it at the Wii U eShop because it's only $20 there. I'm like, I might as well. I'm a Wii U still, because like that, yeah, the pricing is ridiculous. That's all I gotta say on that.
Yeah, I just think that, Nintendo's in their minds, they're like, we added the Joy-Con feature, so fuck it, $60. And, they know that it's Zelda, so people who, have never played it before, they might still, pay that $60 just for like convenience, so they don't have to get a Wii U or whatever. So I think for people who don't even own a Wii U and only have the Switch and want to play Skyward Sword and actually see, if they like the game or not, go for it. Honestly, I think that is fine. But then again, it is $60 that you're paying for a game that is over 10 years old. That game came out in like what? I forget exactly what year. It came out in like
2011. Wait,
yeah, 2011 or something like that. That the game is really, really old. Like, it came out the same year as Sonic Generations, and I forgot what year that came out in.
Yeah, 2011 it came out.
Yeah, so the game is really old, and it is just a sort of HD bump with just like Switch control updates and stuff. So keep that in mind. You might want to save on to your money, because I know that they're going to show more Breath of the Wild 2 stuff later this year. I think that he said that in the Direct. So yeah, but this game is going to come out July 16th, 2021 to anyone that is interested. But yeah, I mean, overall, what do you think of the Direct as a whole? Because I know that there were a lot of people that were like, this shit was weak. Our friend Kofi fucking hated the Direct, not to like put him under the bus, but he was like, yeah, this Direct was kind of weak. And I'm like, I mean, I think the expectations of Directs is kind of high. I think I've said this like a lot in the past, where it's like, when a Direct gets announced, people have like these super duper high expectations of like, Metroid Prime 4 and like Mother 3 or whatever the fuck, like these like insane expectations. People thought that like Mario Kart 9 was going to be announced or whatever. And then, the Direct happens, and then none of that shit happens, and then they're like, this Direct sucks. So in my opinion, for not expecting or not even wanting a sort of full-blown like regular Nintendo Direct, for this to come out over a year later since we've had normal Directs, I thought it was fine. I thought that it was whatever. There were some good announcements that I like Mario Golf and Splatoon 3, but there were also some pretty doo-doo announcements, like the DC Superheroes Girl one, and Knockout City, which I put on here, which is pretty much like the next Ninjala game or whatever, but this one's made by EA or whatever. But like, there's obviously going to be some duds, there's obviously going to be some misses when it comes to regular Directs, but that's just how it is in my opinion.
I
So.
basically feel the same exact way. I feel like people forgot how directs go. Like this is
Hmm.
usually how it goes. We got the hype cycle. Everyone gets hyped for a direct. Everyone gets disappointed if it's not Mario, Zelda, like Donkey Kong, like whatever other big IP is presented, and then everyone gets all pissed off and mad, right? Like I feel like that's how it
Hmm.
always goes. I mean, this is about as standard as a direct as you could get. You got the hype thing in the beginning, depending if you actually like what the character was, but obviously you get like a Smash announcement or some other game in the beginning. At the end, obviously you have your big announcement as well, and then in the middle you usually have like one or two bangers in there, and plus the rest is like filler, right? Like that's usually
Yeah.
how directs go. I think people were just expecting a lot just because it's been such a long time, and I get that. I think they probably should have shown a little more just because it's been such a long time. But I feel like this is exactly what I expected a direct to be. And like, yeah, you have the thing in the beginning, which is Pyra Mythra. You got Mario Golf, and I'm gonna count the Project Triangle strategy because that got me pretty hype.
Hmm.
And then you have, obviously Skyward Sword, depending if that's good for you. And then Splatoon 3 sort of like the big thing to end off on, right? Like it's
Yeah.
as like standard as a direct as you could get. So I'm like, this is about what I expected. Like every direct kind of feels like this. I don't really know what people were expecting. Like what do you want? like like
they
yeah,
just they just wanted them to reveal everything that they had working on, I guess. I don't know.
yeah, it just is what it is. Like this is about as standard as a direct as I could think of, and I think people complaining about it like kind of just forgot how these go. Obviously it's okay to be disappointed and stuff, but like I don't know, man. Like this is kind of what I was expecting when directs came back. So and
Hmm.
I was okay with it. I liked the direct, so I thought it was alright. I think it was a little too long. I think they could have cut the fat a little bit, but it is again it is what it is, and I thought it was alright.
Yeah, I think I hope this doesn't deter them from doing regular directs anymore
I don't think
because
so. I think they're used to like this like constant hype and not hype over directs, and they're just like, okay, we're back into it. Let's go, So
yeah. All right. So let's get into WandaVision. So episode 6 and 7, we're gonna talk about. So there's gonna be spoilers. So if you guys want a non-spoiler one sentence review, WandaVision's good, and these two episodes are still good in their regards. So.
yeah, it's still really good. I'm still really enjoying it.
All right, so now let's get into spoilers. So episode 6, I think was definitely the better of these two. But episode 6 definitely was playing off of the reveal of Evan Peters as Quicksilver, and in terms of like how that sort of relationship with Wanda works out. And yeah, I mean, he was kind of, I'm gonna be honest, he was kind of reckless in the episode, especially towards the end. He was like, "What? Your dead husband can't die twice?" I was like,
Yeah,
"Bruh."
he's kind of a dick. Yeah, I'm like, what the hell? I mean, he
Yeah.
was right though. I mean, like obviously, like he's bringing like good points about like how Wanda is kind of just like not accepting reality, which is kind of a big theme here with this whole show, that she's kind of going through like her grieving process, except she does it in a weird way, I guess. I mean, obviously we know that from the next episode that maybe something's up, but yeah, I mean, I definitely think Quicksilver was pretty fun here. Obviously, he was like this radical, cool uncle, I guess. Like,
Mm-hmm.
obviously going for a very 90s, early 2000s sort of like sitcom style here. I thought that was pretty neat. Obviously, we got to see them in their like retro costumes as little Easter eggs. That was
Yeah.
also cool. You see Vision really starting like
Oh
trying
my
to figure
God.
out
Yo,
what's going on now.
Vision's arc for this episode was very cool just because he's like, all right, what the fuck is actually going on? And when he's like in like the outer skirts of town and like these people are just like in like their idol animations, I was like, this shit is fucking creepy.
Yeah, I love it when it was just a single tear on that lady, like help
Yeah.
her, and she's
I
dying.
was like, oh fucking no, man, not like this. But yeah, I mean, it just like sort of shows that like what Wanda's doing is not okay, like at all. And she's obviously the like sort of antagonist, depending on how you look at it within this show. And yeah, I definitely liked Vision in this episode, especially within that scene where he actually managed to get out, and then I guess the kids obviously like they have powers and they like sense that like dad was dying, and then what's it called, when she like expanded the field, I was like, wait, she could fucking do that.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, she expanded the field and like started taking up a lot more of New Jersey now. Obviously, she turned all the sword guys into clowns because that's what they are. And this is really
Yep.
funny to see them just all turn into clowns as she started absorbing everything into the hex. And obviously, like Vision can't live outside of it because he's like dead, and I
Hmm.
think Wanda is the only one really keeping him alive in that like form, I guess, like because he's dead. So I don't know how she's doing it, how she's bringing them back to life, but she is only through that hex. So yeah, that was pretty interesting to see as well.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of moments within episode 6 I really, really did like. And yeah, episode 7, the one that just came out today, was kind of weak in my opinion. I mean, what are your thoughts on episode 7, like after you finished watching it?
I thought, yeah, again, I thought it was okay. It was more telling us things we like, like kind of know. Like, I mean, like, Agatha kind of being the villain. It's kind of obvious at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least to me it was. Like, I think I was already saying like she's sus. Like,
Yeah.
like, I think she was already sus. And it was pretty obvious. I think that was kind of the major reveal too. Like, I don't really remember what else happened. Like besides that, like, freaking what's her face? The other lady that goes back into the hex.
Darcy?
Not Darcy.
Oh,
the other
no,
one.
Monica.
The sword lady, yeah. Like she has like powers now, I guess. Like I don't know what's the deal with that. My brother actually had a pretty interesting theory saying, since Darcy was giving the whole explanation, saying like the hex was like messing with her DNA and stuff. It'd be pretty interesting if this is how mutants are introduced.
Yeah.
Mutants are introduced into this because her power doesn't look like Wanda's. I thought it was like she was like mimicking Wanda's power because she's in the hex, but it looks more like electrical or something. Like it's really weird. Like I don't know what they're going for there, but maybe she's like a mutant with electricity. That'd be kind of cool. Again, I'm not too sure. I don't know what her character actually does in the comics, if that's something that actually happens. But it seems pretty cool as a MCU thing. Like, oh, this is how mutants are introduced, where this whole town is about be turned into mutants because they've been in the hex for so long and their DNA is getting all altered and stuff. So yeah, that was a pretty interesting thing about this episode. So
Yeah, I definitely like that aspect, giving, I guess, Monica her, I guess, comic accurate sort of powers. That was very cool. And if this is the sort of way that they're going to introduce mutants, that's going to be also really cool. I found it very funny that she just walked up to Wanda's house not expecting, or I guess she probably did expect for like shit to go down, and she was like, "Yo, calm down." I'm like, you know what's gonna happen, like 100%.
Blast you back, yeah.
Which obviously did happen, and I guess she like stopped the people around her neighborhood from seeing it. I guess I'm not entirely sure what.
I think because she's losing control or something, and
yeah,
yeah, and I think maybe she can't focus on everything at once. So when she was going all like ham on her, she probably couldn't control everyone either or something. Like yeah, something weird is going on with her powers this episode. Since as you can see, like all her, I guess she is losing control over the hex, and maybe that has something to do with Agatha maybe messing with it. I'm not too sure, or maybe she's just getting weaker as she's realizing like she's coming to reality or something. I'm not too sure about that. The commercial was pretty messed up.
Oh
just
my
like,
god, bro!
Yeah.
I was like, yo, this commercial. I mean, the last one was pretty weird.
The last one was messed up too. Yeah, they're getting really messed up now.
The last one was with that kid on the island, right?
Yeah, the like claymation kid. He just like dies because he couldn't.
I was
open
like,
the juice.
damn, y'all use this budget for this? That's crazy. But yeah, this show is definitely getting much, much more creepier. And Wanda is sort of like losing, I guess, control of like her world now. Makes sense. She expanded it to save Vision. But obviously, like, I'm not sure if she knows where Vision is, because Vision is sort of still doing his own thing with Darcy, which, like, when he first interacted with her, I was like, bro, just like snap her out of it. Like, I don't know what's going on here, but
Right.
he obviously does do that eventually, and she sort of is there to explain to Vision what actually happened to him and why he's dead, and why when he tried to get out of the hex and all that stuff happened. But yeah, I think now with the whole Agatha thing, some people are hoping that like it's like a sort of JK, and like hopefully like there's someone bigger, because like you said, like it was obvious to you, and I think obvious to a lot of people, that like she was sus and Agatha is doing something here. So hopefully there's someone else behind the curtain sort of pulling the strings. Did you see the mid-credit scene?
Yes, I did. Okay. Yeah, Quicksilver is like Snoop. Snoop.
Yeah, I guess Monica's captured or something. I'm not entirely sure exactly what happened at the end there, but yeah, I'm very interested. Just like with this show in general, it is very interesting. Very interested to see what the next episode entails. Just because I think that episode 7 was a little weak, and I think a lot of people's sort of like worst episode of the season so far. Just because there's a lot of like subtle things that happen within this episode, like the whole like Wanda losing her powers, but like not a lot of like crazy sort of stuff happens,
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, there's not really a lot of like big moments. Obviously, I think Agatha being revealing herself as a villain was kind of obvious for some people like me. But
Hmm.
besides that, it really wasn't much else. Again, all these subtle things I've been picking up on are like more again the subtle things.
Hmm.
But it wasn't really like big like oh shit moments like there were in the other episodes. I do agree with that. I don't think it was bad or anything, but yeah, maybe I do agree it was a bit of a weaker episode. But obviously you can't expect every episode to be like an absolute bangers because I mean it's still really good. But yeah, I could agree with you that it was a little weaker than the past episodes.
And like when you release it in a weekly format like this, obviously the weaker episodes are going to stand out a lot more.
Hmm.
And I think that this is the first dud for WandaVision, but I believe we're getting very close to the end of this series. So I would imagine that it's going to pick up again, hopefully next week, and if not the episode after that. But yeah, overall, I'm still very, very much happy with WandaVision so far and wondering exactly how everything's going to tie together. So.
Yeah, I'm also very interested to see how they like tie up all this, or maybe connect it to the Falcon and Winter Soldier, or whatever else they're gonna connect it to, because that's always the fun part about these Marvel things. Is like, all right, how is this gonna connect to this now? So yeah, overall pretty good. Not as good as the other episodes, but still pretty solid.
Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to add, good sir?
No, I think that's everything.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening to the Travis Damian Podcast, episode 56. We will see you guys 2 weeks from now with another episode.
See you.